Hey, everybody on YouTube, what is up? Our final show of 2020. Holy cow, we are almost here. We are almost at the end. I've got good hair, a solid beard formation today for the final show, and I hope all of you are really, really pumped up and ready to have a good time tonight and tomorrow. And I want to say a big thank you to all of our listeners for being as awesome as you are and as loyal as you guys are here every night. You know, we do our best to promote a good place and a safe environment and a happy area for everyone to enjoy the woo that we love so much. And I couldn't do it without you guys, so thank you so much. And let's give the rundown here before we bring in our guest tonight, David Weiss. Tammy Finnegan, the lovely and talented Tammy Finnegan is here. She hits up the super chat. Thank you so much, Tammy, for that super chat. Absolutely amazing. Much love to you and Happy New Year to you. Gorgeous Renee, how you doing? The lovely and talented Florida Steph Dickey is here, everyone. Yes, she is. Give her a smile. She will smile back. Brett Lewis is here, which means we can officially start the show. Crypto Man, how you doing? Thank you for coming on in. Blix, good to see you here. Appreciate you. Rex, good to have you here, man. The lovely and talented Larry is here. Yes, lovely and talented Larry is back. Super Sandra, good to see you. Hey, Lib, good to have you back. Tommy Lee Ireland, always a pleasure. Dirty Filth, good to have you here. The awesome Cat Chaser, I always appreciate you here. Thank you so much. Boz Monster, always a pleasure to have you here. Oh my gosh, look who it is. She will be signing autographs at the back table to the right, line up, 6 feet apart. The Alaska's greatest athlete, the gorgeous Emily Bigelow. Signing autographs. Gold Sharpie tonight, people. It's a special night. All right. Who else do we got here? Let's see here. We got Hungry Burrito. Hungry Burrito is here. Thank you for coming on in, Hungry Burrito. And now I got to find my spot because it kicked. All right. Alan Young, how you doing, man? Thanks for coming on in. Reptilian Overlord, good to see you. Kevin, thanks for joining us. Richard Elmore, good to have you here. And as we continue on, there's Swamp Monkey and Jose. Good to have both of you here. Morning, Andrew in the Commonwealth. Good to have you back. C.R. Delow, welcome. Welcome. Chocobo, always a pleasure. Hi, Jenny. BBD Warrior, thank you for coming on in. Hey, Big Rob, I know you're lurking, but I still love you. Fast Hemi, good to see you here. Project Blue Book, thank you for the message. I did respond. I hope you got that. And the Jim Christie is here, everyone. Holy shit. It's the Jim Christie. Yes. Who else do we got? Oh, wow. Wow. Can you believe it? Can you absolutely believe it? Manitoba Becky is here, everyone. The gorgeous lass of the Flatlands, Manitoba Becky. Happy New Year to you, my friend. Nucker, how you doing? He's wide awake tonight, Mr. Apnea. There he is. Stargate Traveler, good to have you here. Rono, good to see you. And the Ronald Penton, everyone. The Ronald Penton is here. Good to have you back, Ron. Flesh Wound, good to see you. Yola Tango, welcome back. Lone Ranger, welcome to our chat room for the first time. Thank you for joining us. And am I caught up? Am I caught up? I know there's going to be a bunch more coming on in. I think I'm caught up for now. David Weiss is our guest, everyone, as we are about, a minute and a half from launching here. David, how you doing, man?
I'm doing great, man. Thanks for having me on. Looking forward to the conversation. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Me too. We are just over 110 away from 10,000 subscribers on our YouTube channel. 110 away. I don't think we're going to hit our goal. I had hoped that we'd have 10,000 by tomorrow night, but we didn't. But that's okay. We got real close, and that's good enough for me. At 10,000, I'm still going to do the lucky draw. I don't care who it is now. Still going to do the lucky draw. All right, everyone. Persevere, good to have you back. And David Weiss, our guest. Flat Earth tonight. All right, Flat Earth. I know this is a controversial topic, but we're going to enjoy it, and we're going to enjoy it large and in charge tonight, and as fun and as professional as we always do. Hey, sweet Donnie C., thank you for joining us. Really do appreciate it. We are 45 seconds away. Great way to support this show, everyone, is by going to our YouTube channel like you're on right now, hitting that subscribe button or thumbs up, thumbs down. So Super Chat is open as well. And doing a little shopping at the SOR Vault, which is facebook.com/the SOR Vault to do your shopping. We really appreciate all the support. Trust me, those shirts will get out. I'm harassing her every day, man, to hurry on up. Hey, gorgeous Ann, how are you? Stunt Brat, you're looking lovely tonight. Cat Chaser, thank you so much for that super chat. I really do appreciate that. You are the best. Really, seriously, you are. And we're going to get going here in about 10 seconds. We're going to have a fun show. Sit back, relax, turn up the woo meter, because we're in for a good one tonight, ladies and gentlemen. David Weiss is our guest, and let's get this thing going. Central British Columbia to you listening around the world. This, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. We welcome you to tonight's show on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on TalkStream Live, KPNL, and Revolution Radio. If you want to take a listen to our archives, they are free for you at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumper and reading up on Captain Sir's SOR Newswire. Tonight's show is brought to you by Chive Charities. Help make the world 10% happier by visiting Chive Charities today. You can find them on our website. I want to say a big Happy New Year to everyone in our Spaced Out Radio audience. As you know, it is that time of the year. It's our last show of the year, and we want to make sure that we go out with a woo. And that's exactly what we are doing, as David Weiss has come to an understanding about the Earth, that it's flat. Not globe-shaped. No, he's an anti-glober, as we were taught in school. The host of the Flat Earth podcast uses science and research to debunk some of the long-held beliefs about planet Earth. Yeah, he covers the solar eclipses, gravitational pull of the moon on the oceans and tides, airplane flight paths, Antarctica, NASA images, the firmament, the horizon, and predictive programming. He also explains why flat Earth is not accepted by the mainstream and why more prominent leaders and celebrities are reluctant to publicly support this theory. Then at the bottom of hour number 3, I will bring you the SOR Newswire, brought to you by Paranoia Magazine. Now, David Weiss, welcome to Spaced Out Radio for the first time. Happy New Year to you, my friend.
Happy New Year to you, Dave. I'm excited for this conversation. I just want to start out, for those of you new to this topic that think that I'm crazy, I was you, and I thought this topic was crazy. But tonight, I'm going to say some really crazy, insane things. And I'm also going to say some things that make perfect, total common sense. And what you'll realize is the crazy things that I talk about all are describing the helio-nonsensical model, which I call it, and the, oh, that makes sense things are going to be about the flat Earth.
Well, we're going to get into it because you were a round eye at one point when it came to the planet, and like most of us who walk the Earth with you, we all think it's round, but you had a change of heart. I want you to explain how you went from believing the Earth is round to it believing the conspiracy that it is flat.
So the conspiracy is that it's round, and we've been programmed that it's been round since before we could talk. All children's programming, all of our schooling, every movie, every television show are all globe programming. And it's been taught to us literally when we were in our cribs and we had that solar system mobile hanging over us and our NASA sheets and everything else. So I used to do a conspiracy podcast, and in the third year, people started sending me, hey, Dave, have you looked into the flat Earth? And those comments like that would basically get your email deleted. If you sent another one, it would get you banned from our social media for being so stupid as to waste my time to ask me to watch a 1-minute video. Even a 1-minute video, I wouldn't do it. Then another prominent researcher told me she thought the Earth was flat and sent me a series of videos by Mark Sargent called Flat Earth Clues. And I watched them. I said, that's interesting. I'm just going to prove the globe and put an end to this. That was 6 years ago. Since then, I've left my own company. I do this full time. I'm the host of the Flat Earth podcast. I'm the creator of the Flat Earth Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app, which is literally one of the only ways to get real content because it's all being hidden. And here I am talking to you, looking forward to this conversation. So that's my journey in a nutshell.
All right. Now, when you first decided to come out as a flat earther, let's start out with your family, your friends. What did they say to you, man?
If they had the choice to institutionalize me, they probably would have, but luckily they didn't. But my, some people close to me got it. Some people close to me are no longer close to me. You may lose some friends and family members over this topic because it's such an emotional topic. It's easy to fool somebody, but it's much more difficult to convince them they've been fooled, especially when you're ripping out their entire world belief out from underneath their feet. Nobody likes having their ball taken away.
Oh, no, and I understand that, okay? I really do. But, I mean, the fact is, you have to throw out everything that we have been taught. Now, there are certain things that I can agree with about that, okay? I can agree that there's life out in the stars. Why? I've seen aliens. I've seen UFOs. Many of our listeners have as well. But to throw out every piece of mathematics, every piece of science, every piece of physics, every piece of chemistry, and the like, all because we want to believe that the round Earth has never, ever been round. I mean, that seems like a tall tale, my friend.
Let me unwrap some of that for you. So let's start with one thing at a time. You said you believe in aliens. How about this? Let me describe what the flat Earth is and what it isn't, and then I'll talk about extraterrestrials, and you're going to find out, wow, that makes a lot of sense. We must be talking about the flat Earth when I explain it. So the flat Earth is not – if you search flat Earth, you're going to end up at the Flat Earth Society. The Flat Earth Society is a government-controlled disinformation site to make you mock flat Earth and never seriously look at it. If you Google images of flat Earth, you're going to see a flat pancake flying in a heliocentric solar system with other round planets. No flat earther believes that. No flat earther believes anything that's on that site or anything that Google will deliver you when you search for flat Earth. What the flat Earth is, think of it as this. Start off with a puddle after a rainstorm accumulates in the low spot in the land, and the edge of that puddle is just the land that's higher than the water's surface. Now expand that bigger to a pond. It's just a bigger puddle, and a lake is even a bigger puddle. And if you had some high spots of land in the middle of that lake, we'd call those islands. And the shoreline of the lake is just the land that's higher, that's containing the lake. So if you're on a lake and you sail to the edge of the lake and you get off, you don't fall off the lake. You just walk onto the land. As a matter of fact, if you sailed to any continent in the world, the Caribbean, Florida, wherever you want to go, you get off your boat and you walk into town and you buy your beer or your dinner or whatever you want. That's normal. But if you sail to the shoreline of the world pond, think of all of the oceans of the world as a big pond, and the islands are all of the continents. But if you sail to the edge of that pond, that's the land that we call Antarctica. Antarctica isn't a continent at the bottom of the ball. It is the surrounding land around us. But the funny thing is, you can't just get off the boat and walk out. You have to climb up 100 or 200 feet to the land, the plateau. It's the highest land at Earth. It maintains the world pond. We live in the Antarctic basin. And the best way I describe it is the flat Earth is the basement of the universe. We can talk about what's underneath the flat Earth later, and we live in this pond. So, what is so the question is, what is beyond the shoreline of Antarctica? There may be other continents out there in the outer spaces across the flat Earth plane. So if you could fly over Antarctica outwards, you may come across other oceans and other worlds where extraterrestrials, extraterritory, where they come from. So they're not coming from trillions of miles away and then crashing here in Roswell, New Mexico. They're coming from just a couple thousand miles away across the flat Earth plane. One more thing I want to say is we're going to talk about many things. Lots of things under our feet I can show you science that proves, but anything above cruising altitude or beyond the shoreline of Antarctica is speculation because you and I can't go there. And I'm happy to speculate. I love it, but I'd rather, the real stuff that I want you to pay attention to is the stuff that we can prove right here under our feet.
Okay. And I understand with what you're getting at. And what you are saying, though, and I will tell you, and I mean this with all due respect, it makes little sense to me. Okay? And let me explain why. Never mind what we have accomplished or not accomplished. What I don't understand is going back 5, 6, 7, 800 years, why would mankind would create the theory that the world is round? I've heard the suspect claims of, well, they wanted to control the people. That rounding an Earth is not going to satisfy that complaint for me. So I'm going to ask you, give me a reason to believe why a conspiracy of 7, 8, 900 years is logical.
So my question is, where did you get the number of 7, 800, that many years?
Because in history, that's when it was reported that the great debate of whether or not, or 500, 600 years ago, where the great debate of whether the Earth was round or the Earth was flat came out.
So I'm gonna tell you a couple things about history, his story, where the rulers of the world make up the history. So do you know the story that they teach all the kids in school, at least in the United States, about Eratosthenes, how he, with sticks and shadows in ancient Greece, figured out the sphericity and the size of the planet within 2%, according to Carl Sagan? You know that story?
No, fill me in.
So the story is in Greece 500 years ago, or whatever how many 100 years ago it was, he noticed that on a certain day of the year he could see the sun's reflection at the bottom of a well, and that way he knew that the sun was directly over us. And at the same time, 500 miles away, he could have a vertical stick, and that stick would cast a shadow. And he says the only way that it could cast a shadow is if the Earth was a sphere. Did some trigonometry and said, oh, the Earth is, and he came up with a number that's within 2% of what they say the Earth is right now. So he is Carl Sagan in the original series Cosmos, and Neil deGrasse Tyson, the high priestess of scientism, say the only way that can happen is on a curved Earth. But the truth is, on a flat Earth with a close small sun, like we believe, you can have the same thing. If you had two candlesticks on your desk and you held a light over one of them, the one that has the light over it will have no shadow, and the other one will have a shadow. You can do some math and come out with how big your table is as a sphere, but it's really not. It's flat. You're just taking data and using a math equation. But here's the funny part. Eratosthenes was the most famous mathematician of his time because he discovered that the Earth is a sphere and how big it was. But there was other mathematicians that came out of the same area over the next couple centuries that wrote many books on math, and none of them ever mentioned Eratosthenes. That's like writing a book about the history of the Chicago Bulls and never mentioning Michael Jordan. The funny thing is, the oldest book we can find that has Eratosthenes in it, now he's in it, but no mention of his experiment until the books in the 1980s came out. It came out in a Rockefeller textbook that was inserted into the school system. So it's a made-up story. And here's the interesting part of this. I was interviewing a 102-year-old woman this past January about the World's Fairs. And while I was talking to her, she was telling me a story about her 5th birthday party, and she remembered details of her birthday party. And I asked her where she went to elementary school. She knew where it was, the teachers' names, kids in the classroom. She was remembering it all. And I said to her, what did they teach you in science class in elementary school? And she looked at me, and I had never mentioned flat Earth there. She looked at me, she goes, they taught me that the Earth was flat, but then they changed it later. Then we found people, a woman from Croatia, and she said in the 1930s, everyone in Croatia was taught that the Earth was flat. So I claim that this changeover to the ball Earth did not happen until the early 1900s, and our history is completely a lie.
Okay, but that still doesn't answer the question as to why the conspiracy. I don't buy the entire thing. Well, we're trying to pull the wool over everyone's planet, so or everyone on the planet, so we're gonna tell them it's round. So that makes no sense.
Well, what makes sense is, we're going to jump right to this, and this would have scared me away before I discovered the Earth was flat. Just to give you a quick little backstory, I'd be listening to somebody giving a report on whatever, and I have 3 pages of notes, and then they would mention the Bible or the Quran or God, and I would just tear up those notes and I'd unsubscribe and I wouldn't listen to them because they're religious fanatics, and I didn't have any belief in any of that. But then when I was forced to challenge the flat Earth model and try to prove the globe, I realized that we're not a random accident that just evolved and lightning struck and created an amoeba and the whole story of evolution. I realized that this Earth that we live on is intelligently designed and in such an amazing way, and that we are intelligently designed, and that tells you right there that there's a creator. So I believe, and there's tons of evidence to this, that they are literally trying to hide God. Now, there are plenty of people that have found God that think they live on a ball Earth planet, but if you don't, if you think that you live on a ball flying through infinite space, lost, spinning out of control in 4 different directions at once, you in a distant God or godless universe, you're lost and you can't make proper decisions. But if you realize that you are at the center of creation, that you are created by a God, that you have power, you have free will, you can take your power back and stop giving it to the elite that are trying to run the world by using your energy, your fear. They have us in fear of many things that are all frauds. But once you see that we are the center of creation, you take your power back and take it away from them.
Okay, so what shape is the planet?
So what shape is the planet? That's a great question. There's hills and valleys and mountains and everything, but the planet is 70% water, and large bodies of water at rest lay flat. We've measured it with lasers over frozen lakes for hundreds of miles. We've measured it with microwaves. We measured it with mirror flashes at the sea level, where the observer, that mirror should be 100 feet below the curve of the Earth, but we can see the flash of the sun. We've done lasers, as I said, microwaves, all sorts of things, and we can see things that should be behind miles of curvature now. Our optics have outgrown their lies. We have consumer-grade cameras that can zoom in on things that should be a mile below the curvature, and then we can convert these cameras to infrared, and we can see way farther. We can see things that there's no way you can see them. There's many examples of this, scientific examples. When you watch a NASA rocket go up, it goes out over the Bermuda Triangle, and it goes down. If you watch it in person, that's what you see. If you watch it on TV, you see a whole different thing. But there was an amateur rocket called the Go Fast rocket that was launched in Arizona, and it went up really fast. It went up 73 miles, and at 73 miles, it went kerplunk, like dropping a stone in a pond. And all of a sudden, it stopped spinning. It's floating, and when it turned on its side, it could see the moon because it was up high enough where the sky was black. It could see the moon, but the moon at that time was over Australia. This is in Arizona. The only way you could see the moon is if you could see through the Earth if it was a sphere, but it could see the moon because it was high enough and clear enough up there, and it was far enough from the moon where it wouldn't get compressed into the horizon because it was high enough. So we saw the moon. The Earth is flat, period.
What shape is it?
That's a great question because I would say that the world that we live in, the limits, because we live inside the Antarctic Treaty, it's circular. It's circular, like a circular pond. That's the closest shape that it is. If you in 1957, all of a sudden, all of the countries of the world got together and said, we must sign a treaty for environmentalism. Before environmentalism was even a word, they signed a treaty in 1957 that said nobody can explore Antarctica independently because we must save the penguins and the ice. Nobody can drop a cigarette butt on the ice or it'll be ruined forever. And meanwhile, we can deforest the Amazon and plant palm oil trees and do all sorts of other atrocities, but nobody can go there. That treaty cannot be questioned by you, by me, or any corporation until the year 2041. 2041. That is crazy with all of the wars and all of the resources and we're running out of oil and stuff. It's a resource-rich land that's bigger than America, Admiral Byrd said, but nobody is allowed to explore there. There's 15 different companies that you can go take a tour of Antarctica, but it's not really a tour. It's like going to the gift shop of an army base and saying you saw the army base when you really were just on the outskirts. It'll cost you $10,000 to $30,000 to go there just for a couple days. They'll show you the penguins. They'll take you a couple miles out south. They'll show you a pole in the ground. They'll tell you it's the South Pole, but it's really just a pole in the ground, and there's no way to verify where you are because GPS doesn't work down there, and neither do compasses, right? And then they'll kick you out. There's no independent exploration of Antarctica because if we were allowed to explore there, we would find out that the Earth is not a sphere.
Third time. What shape is the Earth?
Well, what shape is, the overall, it's relatively flat.
I understand that, but what's underneath? You said after Antarctica, it could keep going. We don't know. So I'm asking you, what shape is the Earth?
So you've seen the cutout of the ball that shows us all the layers down to the mantle from our science books. But really, that's just a meme because the deepest hole ever dug is just short of 8 miles. At 8 miles, they hit an impenetrable barrier. And that barrier, they couldn't drill through it. They couldn't explode. They tried for years getting through it, and they can't get through it. So nobody knows what's below 8 miles. That's equivalent to taking an apple and drilling through the skin of the apple, barely getting through the skin of the apple. And by the way, when they were drilling that hole, they were using ground-penetrating radar and tech to see what they were going to hit next, and they were wrong every step of the way. But when they hit that impenetrable barrier short of 8 miles, all of a sudden they know what's all the way down at the core. It's all pseudoscience. It's made-up nonsense to uphold the helio-nonsensical model, literally to hide God.
Okay. So let me rephrase the question. What is underneath this pancake? Hello?
Oh, can you hear me? I'm there. I'm sorry. I accidentally muted myself.
Oh, that's okay.
What is underneath 8 miles on the ball Earth? Nobody knows because we can't get there. So you're asking me to answer something that nobody can get through. There's an impenetrable barrier. I think hell is below there. That's just me speculating, but what do I know? I don't know anything because nobody knows what's below 8 miles. Nobody on the ball Earth or flat Earth can get below 8 miles. So you can't ask me that question. You can ask me, but I can't answer it.
Okay. So this wall of ice that surrounds the entire planet, if we could call it that. I don't even know what to call it now.
Call it the plane, the Earth plane.
Okay, the plane. Okay, how high is that wall of ice holding in the water?
It's approximately 200 feet, 100 or 200 feet, somewhere up there. I haven't measured it myself, but if you just Google Antarctic ice wall, you'll see videos and pictures of it. Antarctica, as I said, is the highest land on Earth. It maintains the Earth pond. So Antarctica, it's not a wall like the Game of Thrones with two sides to it. It's the shoreline that's a very high shoreline. So you get to Antarctica, you go up 200 feet, now you're on the Antarctic plateau, and it goes for hundreds of miles. And then there's mountain ridge that's supposedly higher than Mount Everest. But they don't tell you that in school.
Okay. We got about 40 seconds here before we have to go to break at the bottom of the hour. David Weiss is our guest tonight talking flat Earth. Okay, so can that ice melt?
It could, but Antarctica is the coldest area on Earth. And on the other side, we'll talk about why Antarctica can't melt, but the North Pole can melt when they should have the same weather 6 months apart.
Well, I know living in Canada here, where I am,
cold.
It's cold.
Yes.
It's cold. I'm cutting glass right now as we speak.
We'll talk about it on the other side, but I have a great answer for that.
Oh, I want to hear it. I totally want to hear it. Ladies and gentlemen, Happy New Year on behalf of everyone here at Spaced Out Radio, our great team, of course, the booking guy, Spookles the Cat, Gail, the Captain Shirk, Ashy, Chuck, maybe even myself. I haven't figured that one out yet. Amber, we got a great team. Wishing all of you a very happy new year here on Spaced Out Radio. We continue with Flat Earth Talk with David Weiss right after this. That's a good first half hour, David. I'll give you a few claps for that.
Thank you, and thanks for being tough. Hold my feet to the fire, my friend.
No problem. No problem, bud. Like I said to you, I'm going to be extremely fair because that's the
And
way I do things, man.
and I try to keep my answers short, but you're asking me questions that take a
Go.
little bit of time. So
The audience is not here to hear me. They are here to hear you. They're just here to
and
look at my fantastic looks.
anytime if I'm going on too long, just hold up a finger and I'll wrap it up as fast as I can. But I try to keep it short because I like a lot of back and forth.
Not a problem, my friend. We're doing great. I'm having a very good time. Thank you for doing this.
You're the man.
Ah, you're the man. You're the man. There we go. Let's see here. Hey,
And
Paul.
if you can plug my app, the Flat Earth, Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app, and I'll just tell people a little bit about it a couple times, that would be awesome because that's the way to really find out about Flat Earth.
You have an app?
Oh my God, it's amazing, and I'm going to
Oh.
gift it to you after the show.
Oh, well, I'm going to accept that. I am going to accept that. All
Yeah.
right. Let's see here. We've got about 5 minutes here. 4 minutes.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, nice and relaxed, chill out, you know. Wish I had some music to play, but I don't. I got commercials here. Bumblefoot. Bumblefoot hot sauce. Yeah. Hey, Nate Foot. Are you sad because the Hallmark Channel is signed off the air right now? 416 Toronto Bitcoin. How are you, man? Chris Reap. Thank you, man. Happy New Year to you. Hey, Bisler. Good to have you. Well, let's see here. Derek, tired of ramen. I hope you're doing okay. You know, just breathe, man. Just breathe. Hey, Super Quest. Rockford Scanner. Happy New Year to you. Gorgeous Marie. Happy New Year to you. Ron K. Xylophone. Thank you for joining us in the chat room. Appreciate that. Look at Big Bad Dearth there. That's David Weiss, everyone. Give him a round of applause. After the show, he will be signing autographs just on the lineup to the left. You must bring a flat pen, though. Oh, come on. That was funny. That was funny. That was funny.
I like it.
Yeah,
I like it.
Rafaela, welcome back. The lovely and talented Rafaela is here. I love her name. Rafaela. Just awesome name. Rolls off the tongue nicely. Yes, that was Kay Kaylee. That was what the hell is it called? Now why am I not remembering this? It's one of my favorites. Why am I not remembering the name all of a sudden? How could I forget the name? Sintaku. Sintaku is the name. I will even post a link for it. 1 second here. We got about 90 seconds here, my friend.
Got it.
All right, bear with me. Oh. Our music guy who does all of our music here, he used to be one of the lead guitarists of Guns N' Roses. There's a link to Bumblefoot Sintaku by the fantastic Ron Bumblefoot Thal. Dennis Sinkovich, welcome. Welcome to the show. Welcome to our chat room. Thank you for joining us. Who else do we got? Oh, let's see here. We got about 1 minute here, my friend. 1 minute. Flesh Wound, good to see you. It's Guns N' Roses always, Elliot. Guns N' Roses for everything. And Sons of Apollo, 6 a.m., Metallica. Showtime 787, good to have you here. Oh, hey, Ron from Israel. Welcome, man. Thank you so much. We get to put Israel on the map now. Mark Salzman, good to have you here. Oob to Joe's Maine. You have aliens. D Queen Beamy, welcome to Spaced Out Radio. We're on in 10 seconds. Thank you, BBD Warrior, Cat Chaser, and Sweet Tammy Finnegan for the super chats. It's a great way to support the show. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up and subscribe today. Second half hour of Spaced Out Radio is underway. Happy New Year to all of our great listeners out there in Radio Land. We really do appreciate each and every one of you for tuning on in. We want to remind you that if you miss portions of this show or others, check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. Tonight we go down the conspiratorial world of flat Earth. Is it real? Is it fake? Are we living in a matrix that is just full of BS? The man to break it on down for us is the Flat Earth Podcast host, David Weiss. David, thank you so much for taking the time to be with us.
I'm thrilled to be here, man.
I'm thrilled to have you here as well. Now, I want to start this part off with this, man. All right. My father-in-law was a pilot for 50 years. Flew his last 25 with Air Canada. And being up that high, he claims to have seen the curvature.
How high?
Is every pilot out there, commercial and military, lying about this?
Absolutely
is he lying
not.
to me? Is he lying to me?
No. So how high was he flying? Planes fly at 35,000 feet. Maybe some of the, the long distance flights from like Santiago to Australia fly at 40,000, even 45,000 feet. The Concorde used to fly at, I think, 60,000 feet or whatever that was. But Neil deGrasse Tyson, the high priest of scientism, he says at 127,000 feet, where Felix Baumgarten did his red bill jump, that you cannot see the curve of the Earth from that height. We've sent balloons up to 120,000 feet without a fisheye lens, and it's perfectly flat. But if you watch the Felix Baumgarten jump, there's a massive curve to the Earth. But the problem is you're seeing maybe a fifth of the Earth with this big curve, and it's all New Mexico. It's all New Mexico. That's crazy. It's just a fisheye lens.
Yeah, but that's easy to say. You don't know.
Well,
you're not in the craft.
Actually, we did send up balloons to 120,000 feet with non-fisheye lens, and they photograph perfectly flat horizon that rises up to eye level.
Okay, where was this set and when?
Oh, all the time. There's tons of them, and I'll tell you where to find these videos. But what was I going to say? The pilots. Why are all pilots in on it? No, most pilots don't know, but many pilots know. But they can't talk about it. We interviewed on a show called Globebusters, which goes every Sunday on YouTube, and we had a KLM, a woman pilot. And she talked about how she knows the Earth is flat, and she was grounded the next day. She lost her job, essentially. So pilots that come out publicly, they get grounded. The Qantas pilots have told us off the air that they openly talk about it in their lounge amongst each other, but they can't openly talk about it. So pilots are using GPS, following compasses, and they think that the Earth is so big that they're flying over a curve, but there's so many things that prove they're not flying over curve. Pilots use a gyro that maintains rigidity in space without the effect of gravity. So when the plane turns to the right, the gyro stays level with the Earth, so the plane knows how to level out. If the Earth was a sphere, the pilot would have to nose the plane down like a mile every 2 minutes just to follow the curve of the Earth. But pilots don't do that. They fly straight. They follow their gyro. airplanes fly over the Earth plane flat and level.
Okay, would that not be, if you're on autopilot, which most airliners are, when they hit a certain altitude and speed, the pilots are not even flying the aircraft. The computers are, so the computers would make adjustments on the aircraft to adjust the altitude and the attitude of the aircraft, would they not?
So when you're flying in an airplane for a long time, you could be sleeping, and then when the pilot says, all right, it's time to start our descent into the airport, they start a very gradual descent. Not a mile every 2 minutes, just a gradual descent, and you'll wake up, go, oh, we're going down, and the pilot comes on, we're making our descent, we'll be landing in 35 minutes or whatever. You notice that. If the pilot was nosing down a mile every 2 minutes, you would not only notice it, you'd probably throw up. The airplanes fly straight and level over the Earth plane. Think about this. I'm going to give you. We're gonna take it off of the impossibility of airplanes on a spinning globe. The Earth, they tell us, is 24,901 miles around at the equator. It spins around once per day, so it's going over 1,000 miles an hour. So if you're in Ecuador on the runway, not moving, you're moving eastward at 1,000 miles an hour. You with me? On a spinning globe.
I'm with you.
Okay, now if there's another airplane sitting exactly at the North Pole, is that going 1,000 miles an hour? No, it's not. It's just sitting there doing a 360 in place if it's right on the axis of rotation once every 24 hours. So it's not moving at all other than spinning. That airplane takes off, flies to Ecuador, and wants to land on a north-south oriented runway. The problem is that runway is moving sideways at 1,000 miles an hour. How is that plane going to land on that runway? And you can't say gravity is speeding up the plane on the way over, because that's ridiculous. That's the only excuse you can make, but it's a ridiculous one. Remember I said at the beginning, I'm going to say some crazy things? That's the globe model.
Are the other planets out there? Are they flat?
So the only images, there are no photos of planets or Earth from NASA. NASA says they only use the word images and pictures, because images and pictures are not photographs. And the only images that we have of these rocky planets that can inhabit life come from two sources, NASA and Disney. And Disney is more credible than NASA at this point. So if you look into the sky, and right now this time of year we had this great alignment. All the planets are in the sky. The planets, which used to be called wandering stars, they're brighter than any stars, right? So these dusty, dirty planets, the dusty, dirty gray moon is reflecting sunlight back to Earth so bright you can read by it. It can cast shadows on the ground. When you look at Mars, it's bright. It looks like a piece of the sun with a red tint. Okay, that is impossible because there's a thing called the inverse square law of light. So if you're looking at the moon, on a full moon, you're away from the city, you can navigate, you're casting shadows on the ground, you can read a newspaper. Not that you should ever read a newspaper, but it's bright enough to read a newspaper. You agree? A full moon. It's bright. It's bright.
It brightens up the day.
Yeah. So you can see. But let's just assume, and we're going to give the moon every benefit of the doubt, the heliocentric moon. We're going to say the brightness of the moon on a full moon night is 1 lumen, right? A lumen is a measurement of light. 1 lumen, that's like a candle, I think, is even more than 1 lumen. But we'll just say it's 1 lumen. And the inverse square law of light says every time you half the distance to a light, it gets 4 times brighter. So if you went halfway to the moon, that 1 lumen is now 4 lumens. And if you went half that distance to the moon, it's now 16 lumens. If you went half that distance, it's now 64 lumens. And you keep halving the distance until you're 100 miles from the moon, and it's something like 10 million lumens. So for us to see the moon, the brightness we see it would have to be somewhere, in the millions of lumens, which would basically melt your eyeballs. But when we saw the men on the moon, on the lit moon, it was a dusty, dirty gray ball, and you'd have to believe that light is reflecting all the way back to Earth. Everything about the moon doesn't make any sense at all. If you look at the moon, it's being lit, they say, by a single source light, the sun. When you light a sphere with a single source light, there's a hot spot in the center, and then it fades out to the end. Go out and look at the moon right now. We're close to a full moon. It is lit edge to edge equally, kind of like it's its own light. So We believe that the moon and the things that we call planets, the lights that we call planets, are emitting their own light. The only thing we can honestly say about anything in the sky other than known aircraft is that they're lights. We don't know how big they are. We don't know how far they are without taking wild assumptions.
Some would say yours is the wild assumption, though.
Well, we're not making assumptions. We're not saying what they are. But science tells us that the sun is 93 million miles away. Do you know how they figured that out? I'll tell you how they figured it out. One day, mathematics. So here, let me tell you the equation that they did. One day, Venus transited the sun, and whatever that thing Venus is, it did transit the sun. And they had people time it when it started transiting from the East Coast, and then they also had somebody on the West Coast where it started like a minute later or a certain amount of time later. And they said, okay, that's because of the curvature of the Earth. And they said, okay, Venus is about the same size as Earth, and it took this long to cross the sun. So they did a lot of math, and they said, okay, they can triangulate. And they said, well, that means the sun is 93 million miles away. That's math. It was amazing math. The only problem with that math is they started out with an assumption that Venus is the same size as Earth. Venus could be the size of a basketball, and it could be 10 miles in the sky. I don't know what it is or how far it is, but they assumed that it was the size of Earth. That's like me saying, all right, you have $1 million in the bank account. I'm going to double it every day for 4 days. So tomorrow you have 2 million, and then the next day you have 4 million, and then the next day you have 8 million. So you have $8 million in the bank. Well, that's because I assumed you had $1 million in the bank. It's a ridiculous math equation. We don't live on a math equation. We live on a flat, stationary plane.
All right, David Weiss, our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio, talking flat Earth. So, obviously, you don't believe in the space program. You don't believe we've gone to the moon. You don't believe we have astronauts on an international space station, correct?
Well, belief is the enemy of knowing. Once you look at things, like if you catch NASA lying outright, undisputably lying, then everything unwinds. If you look at the space station, we have not 1, not 10, not 50, hundreds, if not thousands of videos of NASA faking weightlessness in space, hanging from wires, getting caught in their wires, green screen glitches, all sorts of stuff, which is undeniable. But once you see it, they're faking weightlessness on the ISS. They're faking everything.
What's the purpose?
To make you think you live on a ball. The whole thing is to make you think you live on a ball in a infinite universe, that you are insignificant, flying through space with no meaning whatsoever.
Well, I think I have meaning.
Well, as I said earlier, there are plenty of people that have gathered their thoughts and realize how they are important and believe in a creator, or even don't believe in a creator. That's fine, and that have done a good job. You are doing what you love, and you look like you're enjoying your life. That's awesome. But you're missing where you are. You're missing God's creation. Now, I keep mentioning God. Some people have a big problem with that. I used to have a big problem with that. And I'm not even saying who God is, what God is. I'm not saying anything. All I'm saying is there is a creator, and you have to figure out who he is, or who it is, or what it is. I'm not saying that for anybody.
No, I have no problem with that. I'm a believer in God.
Well, I'm just saying that because there are a lot of people that aren't, and I was one of those guys. So I know there's a creator, and I believe there's a verse in the Bible, and again, I'm not a Bible guy, but it says that if you see God's creation, you can't deny God. And that's what brought me here, because I saw the creation. I know there's a creator, so now I can no longer deny God. Don't ask me who God is, what God is, or anything like that, because that's a personal journey anyone else has to take.
All right, let's move on here. Now, getting back to space and satellites, if there is a bubble over top of us, like many flat Earth people believe, do we have satellites up there?
So do you know that NASA is the largest user of helium in the world? They own most of the helium companies. Do you know that they launch satellites up to 8,000 pounds out of Antarctica daily? There's tens of thousands of them in space. If you just Google NASA satellite balloon Antarctica, you'll see tons of videos of them launching these satellites that go and float over the Earth for over a year at a time. We've interviewed, ex-military guys that talk about the Satelloon retrieval program, where they capture these things in air before they crash. And by the way, they've been crashing all over Earth. And these teams come and pick them up as fast as they can, but people with their cell phone cameras have been getting, video of them. They crashed. The one crashed in Brazil not too long ago. But why isn't NASA telling us about these programs? It's out there. You can find the information. But, we fund NASA $60 million a day. How come they're not telling us about this? So the whole excuse me. The whole idea of these satellites falling around an Earth that is spinning, twirling, orbiting, and rocketing through space, and these things are somehow following it on these 3 different curved trajectories is it actually just insane when you actually think about the logistics of it. It's an impossible. Orbiting a falling object around a spinning ball is just a math equation. There's nothing more to it.
Okay, so how do we get signals from one end to the other?
So
if the planet is that, if the sphere, the plane,
the Earth plane,
okay, is that big, how do we get the signals to the planets?
So when you say the signals, there's cell phone signals, there's internet connection, GPS, ground positioning system, I call it. I'm going to explain. There's a network of undersea fiber optic cables, and you can pull up the map of it, and it shows all of these cables that connect all of the continents. The funny thing is, it doesn't connect like Santiago to Australia. It actually connects Santiago all the way up to the United States, all the way over to Europe, and then all the way back down to Australia. And that's because the Earth is flat, and that's a straight line on the flat Earth map. So that they say that covers like 95 or 99, I think 99% of all communications. Now, there are some communications that probably use these balloon technology, but I don't even think that might not even be the case. There's also a way, we believe, and I think it's provable, that you can bounce signals off the firmament to go farther. It's not because of the curve of the Earth. It's just because the perspective just smushes everything together, and radio signals can't push through the atmosphere. But if you bounce them off the firmament, that's one way to do it. Here's the funny thing about GPS. GPS doesn't work in the southern oceans. GPS doesn't even work between California and Hawaii. GPS does not work over the middle of the Amazon jungle because there's no cell towers there. There's no radio towers there. When you fly from California to Hawaii, when you're 100 or 200 miles offshore, your plane goes into approximated mode, and it does a math calculation to guess where the plane is, and real GPS and radar doesn't pick it up until it's like 100 or 200 miles off of Hawaii, because there's no signal out there. If the Earth was surrounded by these satellites that are buzzing around like a bunch of bees, there would be GPS everywhere, but there's not. There's no Sirius satellite radio, only works near land. It doesn't work out in the middle of the ocean. GPS doesn't work in the middle of the ocean. Now, GPS does work in some areas where there's definitely not a cell phone signal, but that's because it's using a completely other frequency. What GPS is the old Loran system, which was before computers, before all of this stuff, or before home computers. The Loran system is a ground tower-based coordinate system that you look up these 8-digit numbers and you look on a map and it crosses them over and says, okay, I'm here. I used to use the Loran system on a boat when I was younger, but then all of a sudden computer graphics came out and they just laid a map over it and they called it GPS. It's complete and total nonsense. If you try to Google images of satellite in space, you just get cartoons. There's no photos of satellites in space. Supposedly there's 30,000 satellites up there, but nobody's able to photograph one from the ISS, from the shuttle, from any space mission, from no satellite has ever seen another satellite. It's all nonsense.
Okay, so what are all those little lights that we see going across the sky?
As I said earlier, they're lights. We don't know what they are. If you have not infrared, night vision, good night vision goggles, which they're tough to get, unless you get military ones. There's all sorts of stuff going on up there. Are they man-made? I don't know. Are they extraterrestrial? I don't know. Are they natural? I don't know, because They're just lights, and I can't prove any of it. But they're not satellites, and it's scientifically we can prove that they're not satellites. There's a thing called the angular resolution limits of your eyes. Okay, that means when something gets so small that its arc size is less than 0.02 degrees, your eye can't see it, even if it's there. Okay, so let me explain what that is. If you have a 747, which is about the size of a football field, which is about the size of the space station, a 747 flying at cruising altitude goes from this giant plane. If you ever seen one, if you ever stood next to one, they're really big. And at cruising altitude, it's the size of a pencil eraser held at arm's length, right? It's a little spot in the sky. So if you doubled the height of that, its angular size would be so small you couldn't see it. The problem is the space station, the supposed space station, is 50 times higher. It's scientifically provable, impossible to see something that small, that far away. But if you get a ISS tracker, you will see a light that cruises from horizon to horizon at ridiculous speeds. And then the other thing is, if it's going like over Connecticut, where I live, and it's heading to California, well, upstate New York and Chicago should see it next, but they don't. Like, where you see it, it's very strange. So again, what is the ISS? In my opinion, I say it's another luminary, kind of like a wandering star, just on a faster path, and I don't know what it is.
I like to geocache. Do you know what geocaching is?
Remind me, please.
It's a GPS scavenger hunt game. All around the world. You can find them anywhere. There's about 8-10 million hidden around the world. I got 5 hidden around my house. How does that work for me if GPS really doesn't beam up to a satellite with coordinates?
Works with cell towers and radio towers, that's all.
What if I'm not near them?
They go pretty far, If you're not near them, if you're in the middle of the desert, you can't play a geocache game. If you're in the middle of the Amazon or a couple hundred miles offshore where there's no islands that have civilization on them, you can't play it. That game will not work.
I live in the middle of the forest of British Columbia.
Do you have any cell service there? Any radio? Can you get a radio signal there?
Yeah, there are areas near my house. If I go about 25 miles southwest, there's no towers, no radio signals.
Well, there's our GPS towers. Do not. There are towers that just do GPS, ground positioning. That's all they do, and so it may work in areas where there is no cell service. They have it all over. GPS pretty much works across the United States, but you can't get signals in very remote areas. I don't know exactly in the United States. I haven't checked if there's areas that it totally doesn't work. But I know that when I'm flying to Puerto Rico, as soon as I'm 200 miles, 100, 200 miles offshore, there's no more satellite service for Sirius satellite radio. So, that tells me that these satellites aren't buzzing around the Earth. Now, there's people, my grandfather, my father, my son works at a satellite company. Yeah, they're making satellites. They're sending them to NASA. NASA's telling you they're going up in rockets, but they're really going up in balloons.
All right. In hour 2, we're going to get to questions from our audience because I see they are starting to line up here on the show. And I'm curious to see what the audience is going to ask you, my friend. I really am. And they're pretty brilliant. So I expect some really good questions. And I see my buddy Mikey has already peered on in. And I'll ask all of you to wait until after the break if you're in one of our chat rooms or on Twitter at #SpacedOutRadio to hang on out. And after the break, type your questions in capital letters so it's easier for me to find them. It's just that easier. David, I'm having a great time with you tonight, man. I really am. I don't get it, but you seem like a hell of a good guy, and I'm having a lot of fun tonight. Thank you.
All right, when we come back, I'm going to tell you about my app, the Flat Earth, Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app, which will help you find the truth, and then you can make up your mind for yourself.
For a minute there, I thought you were going to say you were going to tell us about your ass, but, that's maybe flat as well. I don't know, my friend. I don't know, but we'll check it on out. By the way, a special happy birthday to a good friend of mine who is listening in. Jamie, happy birthday to you. All the way down in Las Vegas. Much love and big hugs from everyone here at Spaced Out Radio just for your birthday wishes. David Weiss, flat Earth. We continue on in hour number 2 of Spaced Out Radio right after this. All right, man, we're clear. I'm going to run my dogs outside, okay?
All right, I'll be right back, too.
Be right back.
We all know on Spaced Out Radio we love a good beard and mustache. So why not take care of your facial hair with Mighty Moose Beard Oil? Made in Canada, we're taking care of beards and stashes around the world. We use 100% natural ingredients with our oils and balms to make your whiskers feel silky smooth. Use promo code SOR2019 at MightyMooseBeard.com today.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
Get your horns up with me on Spaced Out Radio. This is Ron Bumblefoot Thal. Come tune in to SOR where you can hear me rock out with Little Brother is Watching, the official theme song of Spaced Out Radio. And then come on over to bumblefoot.com where you can find out about my tour schedule, my music, and everything else. Bumblefoot.com keeps you up to date on what I'm doing and the best way to stay in touch with my music and music camps. Sign up for my newsletter at bumblefoot.com and remember, Little Brother is Watching.
The SOR Vault is open for business, and we have some cool swag for you to pick up. All you have to do is head over to our website and click on the SOR Vault. You have a variety of cool logos to choose from, and click on anything you want. T-shirts, hoodies, hats, coffee mugs, you name it, we can get it to you. So do your shopping by supporting the store you love. Get your Spaced Out Radio swag at the SOR Vault today.
Take it from the top. Go!
Stories of your day. Take the time to read up on the SOR Newswire, where our team, led by Captain Shirk, will deliver to you some of the best paranormal and supernatural news, along with some stories that will blow your mind from the weird to the wacky. It's the news outside the news that piques interest, and that's what we're looking to deliver to you. The SOR Newswire, only at spacedoutradio.com.
Dave Scott SOR, our Facebook page, The Spaced Out Radio Show, our podcast at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. The Spaced Out Radio Show.
All right, I'm back. And we got a couple of minutes. So apparently, I give Jamie a shout out on the air, and she didn't even hear it because she walked out of the room at that time. So Jamie, happy birthday from all of us at Spaced Out Radio. We love you. Stay beautiful. And you don't look a day over 25. Day over 25. I'll go there, if you don't mind. Throwing some kisses at you. Mwah, mwah, mwah. There you go. All right. Just wait till the commercials are ending before you start posting your questions, if you don't mind. Hey, Mongoose McQueen, welcome. Dutch from Mighty Moose Beard Oil. Here he goes. You can get from our sponsor right there. Oh, let me turn that around. Either the Winter Blend or the original MightyMooseBeard.com is the website. Gary the Dutchman will take care of you. Remember, all the prices are in Canadian dollars, so if you're spending $20 with Gary, you're only spending about 16 and a half American. Good deal. He'll take care of the shipping, and it's all good. Use promo code SOR 2019. I really don't know if Gary will take care of the shipping or not. Excuse me. Talking all day on the phone. And, yeah, there we go. David Weiss is our guest. We got him back here. And are you there, Dave? Or you got us on mute?
No, I'm here.
All right. Prices on beard oil goes up to $20 January 1st. Exactly. Get your deals in now. See, Dave, you need a nice beard like this. You do. That way
I saw you oiling it up earlier.
Oh, yeah. It feels beautiful. It smells great. And by the way, for the women out there, beard oil actually works to keep split ends away, just so you know. So it may say beard oil, but it's actually hair oil, and it's very good for you, very healthy. All natural, no chemicals. Just like that, man. Just like that. SOR 2019 at MightyMooseBeard.com. That's from Gary the Dutchman. And he is Dutch, by the way. All right, big thank you to everybody who's donated to the Super Chat tonight. Gil, thank you so much. BBD Warrior, Cat Chaser, Tammy Finnegan, appreciate the love and support. If you're new to this channel, as we got a lot of new people in our chat room tonight, make sure you hit that subscribe button. We're trying to hit 10,000 followers and subscribers here, and do a little shopping at the SOR Vault, which is facebook.com/the SOR Vault, and you can pick up your t-shirts there. Here comes hour 2. All of our beautiful listeners out there. May 2021 be the best year ever for you. Well, it can't get much worse, can it? But then again, we better not hope for that. But we wish you all the best in 2021. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for tuning us on in. We really do appreciate it. Thank you to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on TalkStream Live, Revolution Radio, and KPNL. By the way, I want to remind you that you can listen to all of our archives for free by going to youtube.com/spaced out radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club, Gallimimus. Gallimimus is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website, spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. We continue on with Flat Earth Talk. From the Flat Earth Podcast, David Weiss is here. He's got a great voice, terrible beard, hasn't grown one. I don't know. I think he should. I really do, Dave. I'm going to be honest with you. You need a beard.
I have a little scruff going.
Not enough for beard oil. Just going to say.
I did get a bottle of beard oil as a Christmas gift, hoping that someone was hoping that I'll grow my beard longer. So there we go.
Well, you know, there is incentive, my friend. There is incentive. Good to have you on Spaced Out Radio for the first time. Thank you so much for joining us, man.
Thanks for having me. Glad to be here. I just want to talk about, a way to search flat Earth. As I said earlier, if you search it on your own, you're going to get fed propaganda. Google doesn't want you knowing what this stuff is. So I created an app. Oh boy, here he goes. He's in it for the money. That is not the case at all. I walked away from my own company that I was making plenty of money to do this because I feel this is my calling. And I want a future for my kids. And we can get into that. But it's called the Flat Earth Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app. And what it does is it feeds you a new video every day. And I say, take the Flat Earth app challenge. Watch that one video every day for 2 weeks. And I do short ones during the week, longer ones on the weekend. And after 2 weeks, or within that 2 weeks, you too will lose the respect of your family and friends because you'll become a flat earther. The app also shows you how seasons work, how time zones work, how the sky is a perfect clock. The sun keeps track of the hours and the days. The moon keeps track of the weeks and the months. And the zodiac, the stars, keep track of the seasons and years. And the one way they fooled us is somebody back whenever said, hey, we got a clock, better make it go around twice, because if it goes around once, they're going to figure out that it's the sky clock, and that's impossible in a heliocentric model. The sky is a perfect clock. So if you go out tonight, right now, or anytime, look at the stars, chart them where some of the stars are. Next year, same night, go out, same time. Those stars are in the exact same position. That proves that we're not traveling billions of miles through space every year, every decade, or whatever, because the stars repeat themselves again and again. Solar eclipses repeat themselves every 18 years and I think 11 days or something like that. There's 2 cycles. They repeat themselves. There's a anti-cathera mechanism that was discovered underwater that they x-rayed and they figured out what it was, and it's a 2,000-year-old device that calculates the position and the solar eclipses, the position of the sun and the moon and some of the planets to perfection, and it's on this Soros cycle, it's called. There's 2 different cycles. So if somebody asks, hey, can you predict eclipses and where they could be seen on a flat Earth, NASA doesn't even do that. They use this one guy that uses his old system to tell them when the eclipses are going to be, and they repeat themselves again and again and again, so they're easy to predict.
All right, let's go to the questions from our audience right off the bat here. And we'll go to Mike here in British Columbia. And he is asking, David, can you explain an eclipse? When there's a lunar eclipse, Earth's shadow appears on the moon. No matter how high in the sky the moon happens to be, the Earth's shadow is always round. If the Earth was indeed flat, wouldn't the Earth's shadow appear as a flat line on the moon?
This is programmed response number 7B by Bill Nye, the lion guy with the bow tie, where he shows you like a quarter as the eclipse, a coin, and he turns it sideways. Look, it would make a line. Only a sphere can cast a curved shadow. But in fact, that entire thing is a lie. Assuming that we're seeing a shadow on the moon from another object is an assumption. But if you take a sphere and cast a shadow on another sphere with a single source light, that sphere doesn't come in as a curved an equal curve that flows over that sphere. Now, if you took if you projected a light projecting a sphere onto a wall, yeah, that curve remains the same. But if you project it onto another sphere, it comes in as a sharp oval. It spreads out and then it leaves as a more narrow oval off the other side. That's how that works. But if you took a straight edge, and I'm not saying that the Earth is a straight edge or the Earth is even causing this, but if you took a straight edge and eclipsed another ball with a single source light, you do get the same looking shadow or the same looking curved dark spot that we see during an eclipse. But I'm not saying that at all. There's a thing called the Seleninian eclipse, and there's over 50 of them that are documented. And that's where you're standing, waiting for the eclipse to start. The moon is off to your east or west or whatever, and it's above the horizon. And behind you is the sun, and it's above the horizon. But the eclipse starts before either one of them set. So that's impossible because the moon, the Earth would have to be in between, but it starts, and it also starts where it comes in from the top instead of the bottom. So again, what we see in the sky, we don't know what's causing it, but what we do know, it's not the Earth, because that's provable by the Seleninian eclipse.
All right.
And by the shape of the shadow.
All right, let's continue on with Human Carl's question along the same lines. With the moon and the sun, what causes them? Is your explanation able to predict the date and time of the next one, including where it can and cannot be seen?
As I was saying, the anti-cathera mechanism predicts them precisely, and they repeat again and again and again. So yeah, over the flat Earth, it makes perfect sense because the wheels in the sky keep on turning with perfection. But in a heliocentric model where you have in our solar system alone over, I think, 80 different, bodies, including all the moons, all swirling around each other like beehives, where none of the gravity affects anything else. Like we're falling around the sun and the sun's holding on to us, which is ridiculous. And the moon is falling around the Earth and the Earth is holding on to the moon. But what happens when the moon is right in between the Earth and the sun? How come the sun doesn't rip the moon away from the Earth with its more powerful gravity, or even tug the moon just a tiny bit out of orbit. NASA has a problem. It's called the three-body problem. They could take a supercomputer and say, all right, I got a ball this big, it has this much gravity, and I got a smaller ball, and it has this much gravity, and they set them in orbit in this supercomputer, and it works like a clock. They can predict where it's going to be in a year from now and 1,000 years from now, and the thing works perfectly. The problem is, if they add a third body, another moon or another planet, and put it in orbit around the moon or the sun, or around the Earth or the sun in that model, the entire model falls apart and never repeats itself. Okay? So that proves right there that gravity, the orbits are ridiculous. None of it makes any sense. The sky is a perfect clock that keeps perfect time. All of these things happen in cycles. And, they knew that this great conjunction was happening on the 25th or 1st or whenever it happened recently, because everything works perfectly. If that great conjunction happened in a heliocentric model, everything would be out of whack. We'd all be dead.
All right, David Weiss is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio, defending the flat Earth. That's where we are. Let's get to another question from Bombshell Bomber, who is asking, David, how do you explain time zones? If the Earth was flat, wouldn't we all be under the same time zone?
So time zones prove flat Earth. The sun is small and close on the flat Earth. And now sunsets on the radio show are harder to describe, but what we're really seeing is the sun is just moving away. Like if you watch an airplane that's over your head and you watch it fly away, it's over your head, you're looking straight up, but within a minute, you're looking straight forward at it, and it didn't go down. It's staying at the same level. It's not going over the curve of the Earth, even if there was a curve of the Earth, but it's all due to perspective. And because the sun is a celestial object, it's above what I call the atmospheric deck of opacity. If there's clouds in the sky, within 20, 30 miles, those clouds merge with the horizon. You can't tell the difference because of the way your eyesight works. But even if there's no clouds, over 50, 60, 70 miles, the clear air becomes opaque. That atmospheric deck of opacity, the sun is above it, it just goes beyond it, and it looks like it sets from the bottom up.
All right, let's continue on here. Bisler is asking, if there is a firmament, what holds it up? And what is beyond the wall of ice that would be on Antarctica?
So again, we are speculating beyond where we're allowed to go, but I don't know. There's arguments. The firmament, in the Bible, it says it's God's looking glass. So some people think it's made of glass. Some people think it's made out of frozen oxygen. Some people think that it's just an energetic barrier. I don't know. I haven't been there. But if you look at, think about a pot of water that you're about to boil, and a bubble is stuck to the bottom of that pot. What that bubble is, there's a flat bottom to it. There's a high-pressure system with water on top of it without a physical barrier. So that's just a little example of how you could have a dome over us, and we believe that space is liquid, most likely water, primary water. There's water above us and water below us.
All right. Well, if there's water below us, hold on a second. If there's water below us, how does it not fall down to wherever it would go?
So again, we're taught that the water cycles of the Earth are done by evaporation, condensation, and precipitation, and that's how water moves around the Earth, but that's not the case at all. I mean, yes, that happens. That's secondary water. Primary water is deep below the Earth. This is why in California, where they're having water problems, no one's allowed to drill a well deeper than 300 feet, because if they did, they'll tap into primary water and they'll have an endless source of water. Muammar Gaddafi, the leader of Libya, he, when looking for oil, found an ocean of pristine water below the desert. He built the largest aquifer project in all of known history. He was pumping water. It took him 40 years to build. He was pumping primary water all over Africa from below the desert, okay? And then when he was all done, the UN went in there and blew it up with depleted uranium bombs, because they can't have people having free access to water or free access to energy, because then they wouldn't be able to control the people. It's all about control, Dave.
And here I thought it was about the gold standard, but we'll continue on here. Troy SR71 is asking, what causes ocean tides then? Why are they synchronized so reliably with our position of the moon and the sun in our sky?
Excuse me. Well, that's actually a myth. They're not synchronized with the sun and the moon in the sky. There's tidal nodes all over the Earth with weird high tides and weird low tides. The heliocentric model says this, that when there's a high tide, when the moon is pulling a high tide, so you got the ball Earth, and you have the moon, and there's a high tide below the moon. So this bulge of water on that side of the ball. But at the same time, there's a high tide on the other side of the planet, on the ball planet. And Neil deGrasse Tyson, the high priest of scientism is made-up science, he says that the moon is pulling the water away from the Earth, causing the high tide. And then the moon is also pulling the Earth away from the water on the other side, creating an opposite bulge. All right? I told you I was going to say some crazy things. That's the heliocentric explanation. Here's the problem. There's high tides that are kind of correlated to the moon sometimes. When there's a full moon, there's a super high tide. But when there's a new moon, there's not a super high tide. What's the difference between a new moon and a full moon? Because a new moon, it's still there. It's just not lit up by the sun. That wouldn't change the gravity, but it does. We believe that everything in this world, the only forces in this world, are electric and magnetic, and the Earth is literally a giant battery. The salt water carries the currents, and the sun and the moon are the anode and diode of the battery. So it's a massive system, and there's a channel, LC King, on YouTube. The letter LC King. Watch some of his videos and take notes, because it'll blow your mind.
All right, let's continue on with Ross's question. David, can you please explain the ionosphere? Correct answer, all frequencies below microwave bounce back to Earth. Microwave and light do bend. It's called diffraction.
I cannot explain it. That's not my expertise. There's a YouTuber in the chat, Globebusters. Message him, and he can point you to some videos that point it out. It's not my specialty, so I'd rather not comment.
Hey, that's fair. If you don't know about it, I would sooner have that answer than an answer that you're making up. So there we go. Kevin is asking, if you think of the flat Earth as a Chicago deep dish pizza with that high crust around the edges, the Earth's pizza is spinning on a turntable with a dome, correct?
Let me make a quick correction. Anode and cathode, not anode and diode. Ask your question again, please. Sorry.
Where did that come from?
Well, when I was talking about the sun and the moon being the anode and diode, it's the anode and cathode. Again,
right.
That's probably over most people's head, I screwed it up, so I just wanted to correct myself because I know I'd be shot down later for saying that.
All right. Well, this kind of leads into another question. Let's see here. We've already asked Bisler's firmament question. Mr. Apnea, who and where are all these people faking that the Earth is round? Google, Microsoft, SpaceX, Russia. How are they keeping it silent?
So all space agencies are in it together. JAXA, if you looked at the recent Chinese that supposedly landed a rover on the moon and grabbed some dust, it's the most ridiculous, stuff that would get rejected for a B-rated movie. SpaceX is also just part of NASA. They don't launch anything into space. It's all done with trickery. NASA supposedly has 50,000 or 150,000 people working there. They don't. They probably have like 500. And some of the people that we see that are ruling the world, they're just the puppets of the people above them. And I don't know who they are. I don't know where they are. Maybe they're living in lands beyond Antarctica. Again, that's something that I can't prove, but there are ruling bloodlines that are controlling this world. You've seen where almost all of the presidents are related to each other, and it's a pyramidal system, and we are just pawns in it.
Okay, let's move on here to another question coming from our audience. This one comes from Alan. If the Earth is flat, why is it not daylight all the time everywhere?
So light doesn't travel forever. The sun is small and close. When it goes away from you, it is blocked by the atmosphere. We have pictures from balloons where we have daylight next to dark without a barrier. You can just see that the throw of the sun's light is limited. I look at the sun like a Tesla coil, and the sky is filled with gases, and that Tesla coil will light up those gases. Maybe it's even lighting up the firmament, and nitrogen is one of those major gases that fluoresces blue. So maybe that's why the sky is blue. And one way to prove this is when the sun, or one way to prove that there's a difference between sunlight and daylight. So when the sun first appears on the horizon on one side of your home, you could go to the other side of your home and it's light over there, but the sun can't go through your house. It's because the sun is fluorescing the sky and its throw is only a certain distance. And so the sun will light up the Earth. Again, on the Flat Earth Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app, it shows you how the sun lights up different amounts of the Earth at different times of the year.
All right.
So did I answer the question?
Okay, but what about in the northern hemisphere where, okay, you take Alaska right now or the Canadian territories where they're getting darkness 23 hours a day or 22 hours a day?
Again, it shows you that on the app. And what it is the Tropic of Cancer is our inner northern summer. And that's a circle close to the center. And then a bigger circle around that on the Flat Earth map is the equator. And then a bigger circle around that is the Tropic of Capricorn. Okay, so right now the sun is over the Tropic of Capricorn. And the Tropic of Capricorn is over the outer southern lands. It's over Australia. So Australia is in the height of their summer right now. The reason the sun is low in our sky is because it's far away, like an airplane off to our side. It's low in the sky, and it's high in the sky for the people in the outer southern lands because it's over them. In 6 months now, the sun will migrate back to the inner circle, which will be closer to us, so the sun will be higher in the sky, like that plane that's 20 miles off to your left. Now it's only 5 miles off to your left. It's higher in the sky. Its arc that you see, just like the sun, is the path the sun takes over the flat Earth. And when it's a certain distance away, we don't see it. The light can't reach us, and it's dark. Here's the thing. In the summer here, the sun sets, and then it's still light for another 90 minutes in the inner north. But in the south, in certain areas in the south, like in South Africa, when the sun sets, it's pitch black in 5 minutes. That's because the sun that we see is moving faster when it's over the Tropic of Capricorn. 6 months apart, equal latitudes north and south, should have the same weather, should have the same sun patterns, should have the same day and night, but they don't. Should have the same temperatures as we talked about earlier. You know, it gets really warm. There's animals and plant life and stuff at 65 degrees north in, I think, somewhere around there, 60 or 65 degrees north in the inner north, but 60 or 65 degrees south 6 months later should have the same weather, the same amount of animals and life, but they don't. There's nothing other than maybe some penguins down there. So again, this lines up with the flat Earth model. It makes no sense on the globe model.
All right, let's continue on as we have 2 minutes left. Let's get to Nikki's question here. She is asking, where do you get your information from that you were convinced flat Earth is real?
So a lot of people say, where do you get your information from? You get it from YouTube. Well, YouTube is like life. It has crap. It has good stuff. It has bad stuff. It has everything. You have to discern. When you go out in life, who do you make friends with? There's real mean people out there, and there's good people out there. You have discernment. So YouTube is just a host that hosts information. YouTube has been censoring a lot of information, so we get it from doing experiments ourselves. We do it from researching stuff that's been done online. We send up balloons. We do these laser tests. We use our super zoom cameras to prove that boats do not go over the horizon. We do tests on perfectly smooth floors to show you how things disappear from the bottom up. So yeah, we get our information from everywhere, but we use our God-given discernment to realize what is real and what is nonsense. And the helio-nonsensical model is complete and total pseudoscience nonsense.
All right, I think we got a minute. Let's squeeze one more in. Solar Warden is asking, even if we assume all the tenets of the flat Earth theory, what then? We're still left with all the existential questions we have now.
So the question is, we're still left. I don't understand the question.
Well, we're still left with all the other questions. What's the purpose of life? Is there life after death? Is there, all of these questions that we still ask?
Well, so if you understand that you are at the center of creation, I think it's our job here to figure out what our life's journey is. I believe we're having a soul's journey here, and the more in line you are with your soul, the better of a life that you'll have. But if you lose control of your soul or sell your soul, which is what the evil side is trying to make happen, then you have a bad life. So that's just my opinion. I think that's part of our journey to figure out what the purpose of life is.
All right, my friend. I'm going to get you to hold on right there. An interesting chat tonight that we are having on our final show of 2020 here on Spaced Out Radio. Happy New Year, everyone. All across North America and the world, we have listeners everywhere. from Australia to Israel to Singapore to the United Kingdom, all over Europe and Asia, and of course all over North America as well. We appreciate each and every one of you tuning us on in. David Weiss, Flat Earth. The conversation continues with your questions right after this. Spaced Out Radio. All right, my friend, we are clear.
Okay.
I'm having fun, man. I'm having fun.
It's a fascinating conversation, Dave. And when somebody has the fortitude to, and willing to put down their ego and look into this for real and take it seriously, there's no denying it once you see it. So it's an amazing thing. The globe has an advantage over the flat Earth. You can just believe it. Belief is the enemy of knowing. You believe something, you're done. You can go take a nap, drink a beer, whatever you want. But if you want to know, it takes time. I've been studying flat Earth every day for 6 years, and it never ceases to amaze me what I find.
Give me 1 minute here. A couple things to our YouTube chat room especially. I am literally about to lose all of the questions, starting with yours, Vinny. And the reason why is the chat room is moving so fast that by the time it scrolls to the bottom, it's going to jump way up, and I'm going to miss them. So when we come back from break, and I'm asking a favor, because you guys are just kicking ass in the chat room tonight, if you could just repost your questions if I haven't asked them. I know it's a pain in the butt, but it would really help me out. I'll try and scroll back as far as I can and go from there. All right, number 2, I know we have a lot of new people in our chat room and listening in tonight. Now, for those of you wondering, what's going on, we're actually a live to tape radio show. Okay, so that's why we go to commercial break. We're not a podcast, we're an actual radio show. So that's why we do have music and intros and extras coming in and out of break. And it's a little bit different here if this is your first time, but it's what we do around here in order to make the radio show side happen as well. So I appreciate your patience, but you guys kind of get the backdoor version of what we do during the show and what we talk about during the breaks. So please hit that subscribe button. We're getting closer to 10,000 subscribers. We'd really appreciate it. And if you like what we're doing or don't like what we're doing, give us a thumbs up or thumbs down. No, keep chatting there, Poulet de Bleu. Keep chatting. All right? That's what it's for. I don't want you guys to stop. It just helps me out if you guys can just repost your questions. And once again, I apologize. Ibarata in Singapore. How you doing, brother? Happy New Year to you. I'm excited for you. How many more hours for you, Ibarata, before New Year's? Let me know. Polar Eclipse, we're glad you found us too. Thank you so much. 10 hours for Ibarata, so that would make it 2 o'clock in the afternoon in Singapore. Hey, Swamp Monkey, how you doing, man? How you doing, Dave? Having fun yet?
I'm having a great time. So, Dave, on the app, I have a feature called the World Time, which shows all the time zones, so you can look at it and see what time it is in every spot around the Earth. So, if you want to, call somebody in Australia, I wouldn't do it right now, or actually, I would do it right now. It's daytime there.
Yeah, it's about 2 o'clock in the afternoon over there.
Well,
3, 4 o'clock.
There's a little spread, but it'll show you exactly what time it is everywhere around the Earth. And again, if you just play with the app, Dave, it opens up a lot of understanding of what the flat Earth is.
Right on. We got just over 90 seconds here, my friend. Just over 90 seconds.
All right.
All right, and go here, and where are we here? A big thank you to our super chatters tonight: Tammy, Cat Chaser, BBD Warrior, And Gil, thank you so much for your support of what we do on Spaced Out Radio. Thank you to our new subscribers. Remember, you can do a little shopping at our SOR Vault. All you got to do is go to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. No, not that one. Sorry, that's our other page. But Facebook.com/the SOR Vault. You can get yourself T-shirts there. We got some really cool stuff there, so make sure you go check it on out. The SOR Vault on Facebook. Here we go, everyone, as we enter the second half of the show right now. I'm not going to lie. I lied about that. I forgot that I have a 30-second break here. So we got like 15 seconds. I called it too early. Man. Oh. All right. Let's go. David Weiss is our guest if you're brand new here. So enjoy. We're having fun. Here we go. The halfway point of Spaced Out Radio tonight. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. Happy New Year to each and every one of you out there in Spaced Out Radio land who is spending the night with us. Yes, I'm very excited about this. Very, very excited. Cannot wait to say goodbye to 2020. I know. We should all have a big hug in after all this is done. That's my opinion. Who wants a hug from old Davey here? Just raise your hands. Hey, I want to remind you that if you miss portions of this show or others, head on over to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do me the favor, hit that subscribe button, our website, spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including Rocket Out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. From the Flat Earth Podcast, David Weiss is with us, and we're having a great conversation on why the Earth is flat. Do you believe it, or do you think that there are flat earthers right around the globe? You let us know. But David, thank you so much for taking the time to join us. I really do appreciate it.
You used a quote from the Flat Earth Society that they have members all around the globe.
That was beautiful.
Again, yeah, mockery. It's just mockery.
All right.
I ask people that when they say, well, I don't believe in flat earth, I believe in the globe, I ask them to provide one proof that they live on the globe. And I'm giving away a free Bitcoin, by the way, which is at $29,000 today, for one proof of the globe. But the best answers I get is grow up, get out of your mother's basement. I was choking on that one. That nobody can come up with a single proof of the globe. It's kind of astounding.
Oh, yes. Well, let's move on. We got a bunch of audience questions here, my friend. And let's get to Fast Hemi, who is asking, how come nobody has been to the edge and taken a picture?
People have been to Antarctica and taken many pictures. The problem is you're not allowed to explore the outer lands of Antarctica. So that's why it's off limits. The big question is, why is it off limits?
Why do you think it is?
Because if people went out there, they would realize they don't live on a spinning ball and everything would change.
How would it change things?
If everybody woke up tomorrow and knew that the Earth was flat, they would stop giving away their God-given power to the elite that have no power over us. They would realize where they are, who they are, what they are. They would realize that this world was created for them and that they do not have to give away their lives to governments. If everyone woke up to the flat Earth tomorrow, all universities would close, all governments would crumble, so many other things would happen, and there will be some mayhem because people are going to be upset. All space agencies would get shut down, and then after the chaos, I think there would be a more beautiful world.
Okay, Batmom is asking, how does the Bible explain the Earth is flat?
There's over 200 verses. Now, I'm not the Bible guy, but on the Flat Earth, Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app, there's a button called Biblical Flat Earth. I'm joking, sorry. biblical flat Earth, and there's over 200 different 200 proofs in the Bible that talk about a non-moving, a flat, non-movable, Earth. The only place in the Bible that says circle is Isaiah. It talks about the circle of the Earth. Well, the Earth is a circle. Where we live is a circle on a flat plane. The Bible never uses the word planet, never uses the word sphere, and basically the Quran and many other religious books are flat Earth books.
Okay. Moving on here, Greco is asking, once again, how do you explain sunset and sunrise? Why is it different in Australia than us?
It's different because excuse me, I need to get a drink. As the sun moves around the Earth plane, it just goes out of view. It's too far away from us. When an airplane flies away from us, it disappears into the horizon. It's not going over the curve. It's just disappearing, and it's the same thing with the sun.
Okay.
And again, this one's more visual, but if you go to the app and you click the why, how do sunsets happen, there's tons of videos in there that we show you exactly how sunsets happen. The one that's on the app today is actually a great explanation of how sunsets work. It's also on my YouTube channel, DITRH, which is the initials for Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole.
Okay. How are weather patterns formed? And this leads to Bidsler's question about how the sun moves around the flat Earth.
So that's two questions. Weather patterns are caused by many things, and they would work on a ball Earth and a flat Earth. It has to do with the position of the sun and the moon, which are putting energy into the atmosphere. The sun and the moon travel around in between the two tropics, and I believe they leave a wake of energy that spins systems in opposite directions either side of the tropics. So there's lots of things that factor into weather systems that has to do with secondary water, the way things evaporate and cause clouds, and there's hot and cold. So some of the stuff they tell us is factual, but the systems of the Earth, due to these electrical energies, cause different systems. Like when we look at what we're taught in school, that the Gulf Stream comes way up to like Greenland and then swoops down, and it's doing this big sine wave. But if you plot that over a flat Earth map, it's a perfect circle. So if you look at the on the Flat Earth Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app, there's a wind button. You hit the wind button, it shows you the current wind patterns on a flat Earth, and they make far more sense. They're perfect circles on a flat Earth. On a ball Earth, they're crazy cyclonic sine waves.
All right, moving on. And let's go to Bombshell, who is asking, where can we see a free animated demo video of this so we can see what you're talking about? Is there anything you trust online?
If you go to the flatearthpodcast.com and click interviews, I have probably close to 100 interviews right now. And when I do video interviews, I have a green screen, and I show you much of the stuff I'm talking about and more. So there is a flat Earth model in there that you will see in every one of my interviews. So go to the flatearthpodcast.com, click interviews, and start watching, and you'll see a model of what I'm talking about. Or again, you can get my app. It's $2.99, and it's worth its weight in gold.
Okay. How come the North Pole is right in the center?
Because the North Pole is in the center.
So that means there is no South Pole.
Correct. There is no South Pole. There are no compasses in the south that point to a South Pole. If the Earth was a magnet like they told us, there would be south-pointing compasses, but there's not. Matter of fact, in Antarctica, compasses are so screwed up because they're so far from the North Pole that there's a thing called magnetic declination, where when you go someplace far south into Antarctica, you have to look at a chart that tells you what your magnetic declination is. So in some places, it'll say, all right, you need to adjust 10 degrees to the east to have your, to see where you really are. So ignore your compass and turn 10 degrees to the east, and that's really north. But there's certain places in Antarctica where the magnetic declination is 170 degrees. So your compass is pointing one way, and this chart by NASA is telling you to turn around and face the other way. So compasses do not work in the south because the north is where, is the magnetic north, and there is no magnetic south. Now, there's all sorts of theories that there's other multiple poles out in the south, magnetic poles, but that's a whole nother rabbit hole to get into. But navigation, North Pole is at the center. Some people think there's a magnetic mountain at the north. I don't know what it is. It could be energy coming out through the earth. Again, another place that's pretty much off limits.
All right, Mario is asking, how come stars rise in the east and set in the west?
Because the stars in the sky are spinning above the flat earth. And why do they go in the opposite direction in the south? Well, think about this. You're on a flat plane, and you're close to the north. You're north of the equator, and you look up at the North Star, which is in line with which is just over the North Pole on the flat Earth. And that disk is spinning clockwise. It's coming from your right shoulder to your left shoulder. And now if you go to the south and turn around and face south, they're now coming from your left shoulder to your right shoulder. They're going counterclockwise, and it's simply because you turned around. The same question is going to come as, why is the moon upside down in the south? And I say, go in your room, draw a 6 on the ceiling, and walk to the end of your room and look up at that 6. Now walk across the room and look up at the 6. It's now a 9, and that's just because you're on the other side of the flat room.
That's deep. Okay, I'm getting a lot of questions about telescopes. What are we actually seeing then when we look into a telescope?
Yeah, we're seeing lights in the sky. As I said earlier, the only thing we could truly say about the luminaries in the sky is that they're lights. We don't know how far they are, how big they are, what they are, but our optics have outgrown their lives. You can get a super zoom camera or a good telescope and zoom in on the star Arcturus or Sirius or Capella, and it's nothing like what NASA shows us. You'll see a pulsing geometric, sacred geometry, shapes and colors. It doesn't look like a solid object. It looks like, in my opinion, some sort of energetic thing. I don't know what it is. Again, it's above our head. We're speculating, but it doesn't look like a gas ball burning, trillions of miles away. Think about this. This is going to take a second to explain. If you look at the heliocentric model, the sun is like one of those big yoga balls. The big yoga balls, you can't even get your arms around it. And the Earth is a BB or a small marble next to it, right? That's about the scale that they tell us. Imagine if the sun was just a mile over your head, Dave. And if it was a mile over your head, it would fill the entire sky. You with me? Right?
It would also burn me.
Yeah, well, we turn down the heat, so it's over. So it's so big, it fills the whole sky. Now we move it 93 million miles away, and it went from filling the entire sky to the size of a coin held at arm's length, right? Just like we see the sun. If I doubled the distance, it's got to get that much smaller again. Could you see it? And I'll make it easier. If we 8 times the distance, any logical mind would say it would be so small you couldn't see it. Well, 8 times the distance to the sun is what's known as a light hour. The distance light travels in 1 hour. They tell us that the stars that we see in our galaxy when we go out at night are other suns like ours, and bigger ones and smaller ones. But the closest star in our galaxy, according to science, pseudoscience, is 4.5 light years. I just demonstrated that we could not see our sun at a light hour, and the nearest star is 4.5 light years. This is another one of those crazy things I'm telling you about the heliocentric model.
All right, moving on. Jenny is asking, do you have a map of the flat Earth? Where's a good one to find?
So again, we don't have a perfect map of the world, but if you look at the UN flag, that's basically the flat Earth map. It's used for navigation. It works. It shows you time zones. If you look at on my app, the Flat Earth Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app, wherever the sun is in its once around journey, it's noon at those spots, and you can verify that the sun is over those spots at noon. So that map is accurate. What's not accurate is the globe. The continents are all the wrong size. They have, South America's too small, Africa's gigantic, and Greenland small, when in fact I believe the opposite is true. And if you have a globe in your office, or anyone that listening has a globe, go grab it right now, turn it upside down, and read the sticker on the bottom. It says, "This is not for educational purposes, only for decorative purposes." And that's because the globe is a bunch of nonsense.
Well, it has been proven in maps that they always seem to make the United States a bigger country on the map because of the popularity and the power of America.
If you look at the two photos or images that NASA, there are two top images of Earth from space, which, by the way, they admit aren't photographs. They admit that they made them in Photoshop. But if you look at them, it shows the United States. On one of them, the United States is over twice the size as it is in the other one when the spheres are the same size. But what you don't realize is all of the other continents are missing. So you have to assume that all of the other continents, all of them, are on the other side of that ball. It makes no sense once you see it. Again, watch some of my interviews. I bring that up in every interview. I show you the images, and I show you how ridiculous the idea that all of the other continents are hidden on the other side of that ball.
All right, moving on here. Another question. BBD Warrior down in Australia is asking, why would a flat Earth be such a big deal? Our ancestors believed in a flat Earth, still believed in a creator as well.
People in the early 1900s knew the Earth was flat. Our history is all a lie. They're hiding the creator because they want to depower us. They want to take our God-given power away. They want us to think we're insignificant and that our thoughts and actions have no meaning, have no effect. But the truth is, the psyop is they don't want us to know that our thoughts create our world. Dave, your radio show didn't come out of nothing. It came out of your thoughts. You imagined it, you felt it, you followed the energy, and you created it. And there you are with all of the things that you've created in your life. You are the creator of your world, and your thoughts create things. They don't want you to know that this world, for lack of a better word, is magical. Magical, God-given, mystical, whatever you want to call it, your thoughts create your reality. And I can prove it. Everybody look at your life and look at your thoughts. They match.
All right, continuing on here with audience questions. Vinny is asking, where are the NASA whistleblowers and such? We get whistleblowers from everywhere.
I was interviewing David Rodriguez. He's a famous boxer, and he has a podcast. And he was telling a story where he was at an event where Buzz Aldrin was there. And David has researched the moon landing enough to know that it's complete nonsense. And he went to Buzz, and he said, "Hey, Buzz," quietly by himself, he said, "Hey, Buzz, I know that you never went to the moon. What's the deal?" And Buzz looked at him, smiled, patted him on the back, and goes, "You're a smart kid," winked at him, and walked away. Okay? So, if I went to the moon and someone said that to me, I'd be a little upset. Go watch the video of the first guys that came back from the moon, their press conference. They literally looked like somebody just shot their dog. I would be jumping up and down. We went to the moon. We made it back. If you watch any of that footage, it's complete garbage. So, what was the exact question again? I kind of went off.
I'll debate that for a second because I would definitely have that look after not showering for a week, after crapping my pants.
It was weeks later.
Or weeks later, whatever it is, crapping my pants in a diaper in an astronaut suit. That can't be very comfortable. Being in cramped quarters can't be good for the body. The weightlessness cannot be good.
Dave, I'll give you that. I'll retract that statement because, again, I'm speculating on somebody's attitude. But if you look at any of the details of the moon lander, how it connected with the orbiter, if you look in any of my interviews, I show the moon lander. It's literally made of curtain rods, duct tape, tin foil, and paper mache. Just look at it. Ask yourself, would you go in that thing and let them sink that in the ocean? Because you'd have to be able to do that to go into outer space. But it looks like a homeless tweaker shelter built by the Three Stooges.
I'm sorry to laugh. That was kind of funny. All right, Alan Young is asking, if there are no satellites, how do we get Google Earth pictures?
They're just from high-altitude airplanes, maybe some of those satelloons. That's all. Oh. And they're laid over a grid and wrapped around a ball in Photoshop.
Okay, wonderful. Ibarata is asking, why is Mars round then?
Mars, how do you know Mars is round? All we see is a light in the sky. When you zoom in on it, it's a light. But here's a question I ask you. Everybody look up right now at the lights in your ceiling, stare at them, and tell me what shape the floor is. And I don't care what shape your lights are. The floor is flat, and the lights could be flat. They could be round. They could be triangular. It has nothing to do with the floor. Mars is not a planet. Mars is a light within the Earth system. Everything we see in the sky is within the Earth system, not the solar system.
All right.
Or
Vinny,
the solar system.
Vinny is asking, as we've got about 4.5 minutes here before we got to go to break at the top of the hour. After the sun sets, can you see it then through a telescope?
Great question. When you watch a boat go far away, it disappears because of its angular size, and it disappears from the bottom up because the bottom has the smallest angular size, along with waves and atmospheric thickness. But things disappear from the bottom up. You can zoom in on them and bring them back because, as I talked about before, the clouds from the clouds down all merge into that horizon and they close up and it looks like a horizon, but the clouds aren't really touching the water. You could zoom in and open that space, make it big enough so you can see it again, and there's the boat that was gone in that merged perspective. But the sun is a celestial object. It's not like a boat, a terrestrial object. The sun is above the clouds. And the sun moves beyond them. Just like if somebody was standing on the other side of a fence and you're sitting on the ground, as they walk away, their head will set below that fence as they walk away from it because you're below it. So the clouds are way above our heads. The sun is above the clouds. We see the clouds merge together, and as the sun goes away, it just sets from the bottom up. Again, today on the app is a video showing exactly how that works.
All right. Bomber is then asking, so how do you explain sunset? When you're standing by the ocean and watching the sunset, what are we seeing if the Earth is flat, and what is stopping the water from pouring over the edge?
So again, does water pour over the edge of a lake or a pond? No, that highest land is surrounding it. We are in the Antarctic basin, just like a pond, is in the basin that surrounds it. You can't go to the edge of a lake and fall off. You can go for a walk, and I couldn't tell you what's beyond the edge of that lake because we're not allowed to go there. So again, what is beyond the a couple hundred miles outwards? We don't know because we're not allowed to go there. It's speculation. What was the other part of that question, Dave?
Oh, I have to find it. My YouTube chat jumped here. So I'm scrambling here to get back. Never seems to work. Never seems to work.
Why doesn't the water fall off and the sunset?
Yeah, so the sunset from shore.
Check out my YouTube channel, DITRH, the initials for Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole, and just watch, as of the date of this podcast, it's probably the newest video, how the sun sets. You'll see it. I show it scientifically, provably, and then you can go look at it for yourself with new eyes.
All right, let's. We got about 2 minutes here. Let's get another question. Is my good friend JML? She is asking, what made you start believing?
When I stopped believing. When I started knowing. I believed that we lived on a spinning ball, and I refused to look at evidence. The people that really rail against flat Earth, they have two things in common. One, they think the flat Earth is something ridiculous that none of us think, and they have no idea what the helio-nonsensical model actually is. Once you look at either one of them, you start seeing, and it's not about believing, it's about knowing. And I know we don't live on a ball. Large bodies of water at rest lay flat. So, my question is, how many flat bodies of water does it take to make a sphere? And the answer is they never make a sphere. And the other thing is, on a ball Earth with a space vacuum above us, the second law of thermodynamics says you can't have high pressure next to no pressure or low pressure without a physical barrier. And gravity is not the answer.
What is gravity? Does gravity exist in your world?
Yeah, so Neil deGrasse Tyson, again, the high priest of our scientism, says he has no idea what gravity is. They have to make up dark matter and dark energy to fill in 96% of the equation. Dave, if I owed you $100 and I PayPal'd you $4 and I said the rest is I'm sending over in dark dollars, you can't see them, but they really exist, would you be happy that I paid you in full? No, that's a complete and total ridiculous thing. Gravity does not work. The three-body problem proves it. There's a whole bunch of ways to prove it. Gravity doesn't exist, but there is something that makes us stick to the Earth, and we can talk about that on the other side if you want.
All right, so if you're in Australia at the bottom of the Earth, if the planet was round, as you were saying, it is not, would people fall off?
Well, on a ball Earth, you have to believe that, hundreds of trillions of tons of water and upside-down cruise ships and cargo ships are sailing upside down on a spinning ball But birds are able to fly, and a human's able to jump, and helium balloons will float up. Up is not down. Up is up. Down is down. Left and right, and are relative to your position, but up is up, down is down. And as I said, with the Go Fast rocket, we saw the moon from Arizona when it was over Australia. That proves Australia is not on the bottom of a ball.
All right, David Weiss is our guest from the Flat Earth Podcast. We have him for another 30 minutes here before we get to the SOR Newswire and the Thought of the Day. Stay tuned. Spaced Out Radio continues right after this. Happy New Year, everyone. Show is flying by, dude. Totally flying by.
It's always a fun conversation, Dave, and I appreciate your staying in the middle there, even though I know you're a flat earther secretly.
I am so not.
Oh, sorry. Are we on the air? People on YouTube can hear us?
You dirty bastard. You dirty bastard.
Sorry,
hey, I'm just going to run my dogs out. I'll be right back, okay?
All right. Yep.
Hold on.
At youtube.com/spacedoutradio. And while you're there, don't forget to check out our free archives and leave a comment. See you there.
We are scouring the world for the most intriguing stories of your day. Take the time to read up on the SOR Newswire, where our team, led by Captain Shirk, will deliver to you some of the best paranormal and supernatural news, along with some stories that will blow your mind from the weird to the wacky. It's the news outside the news that piques interest, and that's what we're looking to deliver to you. The SOR Newswire, only at spacedoutradio.com.
We all know on Spaced Out Radio we love a good beard and mustache, so why not take care of your facial hair with Mighty Moose Beard Oil? Made in Canada, we're taking care of beards and stashes around the world. We use 100% natural ingredients with our oils and balms to make your whiskers feel silky smooth. Use promo code SOR2019 at MightyMooseBeard.com today.
The party is always on. The Moose Van Cleaver is where you can visit Canada's West Coast. Open until 2 a.m. nightly. The Moose runs at the Rock while serving some of the best rated food in the city. The menu starts at $6.95. Why party anywhere else in Vancouver when the Moose is right? Get your horns up and rock with the Moose, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Looking for creative ways to get your company out in the public? How about advertising on Spaced Out Radio? Our sales department is waiting to hear from you, and we can work around any budget. From commercial spots to banners to special promotions, there are many opportunities to get your name and product out to our SOR listeners. For a price guide and more information, please contact us at sales@spacedoutradio.com.
For the price of 1 cup of coffee a month, you can become an SOR Space Traveler. The Space Travelers Club is a place where you can interact with other listeners, either live during the show or on our great forum. We want your stories, pictures, comments, and ideas. You'll get live video streams, exclusive content, and be a part of our newsletter. Stay in touch with everything SOR. The Space Travelers Club is just $5 a month at spacedoutradio.com.
Space Out Radio fan. It's amazing how music and what's going on supernatural. You can head over to our website, music, all workshops, touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that are listening to Spaced Out Radio. You know little brother is watching.
The SOR Vault is open for business.
All right, everyone, we're back. Got a couple minutes left. Dogs are peed. It's all good. David Paulson, welcome. Hey, I just want to say just a couple of things here before we bring David back. I see a few people in the chat room getting a little worked up. Remember, this show, all about entertainment, guys. All about entertainment. Let's just keep it that way. Enjoy. Have a few drinks. We're on the New Year's cruise here on the final show. We're having a lot of fun, okay? We may or may not agree with everything I'm saying or the guest is saying, but the main thing is let's just keep it real, man. Keep it real, keep it focused, and keep it having fun. All right? So that's just a few of you. You know, just chill, relax. We're all having a good time. Let's make it happen. All right? Good. Thank you. There we go. So, there you go. Just had to bring it back down.
Dave, what phone do you have? An iPhone or an Android?
I have an iPhone.
Okay. Pop your email address that you associate with your iPhone in the chat, in our chat, and I'll send you the app over.
Okay. Which one is it do I have? Yeah, I can do that. Hold on. Let me bring that back up. Bring you back up. I think it's this one. All right, we got about 30 seconds. And yeah, thank you again to everyone who has donated to the Super Chat tonight. Thank you, everyone who's given us a thumbs up and thumbs down. Don't forget, if you're brand new, hit the subscribe button. We're trying to hit 10,000 followers. When we hit 10,000, I'm going to give a couple of giveaways because I'm that guy, and it might include some beard hair as well. And here we go with hour number 3, everyone. Let's have a good time. Third and final hour of Spaced Out Radio is now underway. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for taking the time to tune us on in. We really do appreciate each and every one of you. We want to say hello to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on TalkStream Live, Revolution Radio, and KPNL. Remember, all of our archives are free by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do me the favor and hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. What do we got for us tonight, Clam? Gallimimus. Gallimimus is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. For the final time tonight from the Flat Earth Podcast, we bring in David Weiss. We're having a good conversation, a good time here, and whether or not you agree with it, the one thing that this is this is good darn radio. It's darn good radio, and we're going to continue on here. David, welcome back.
Thanks for having me back. And the question you have to ask yourself is, if it's upsetting you, is can you think of one reason you live on a ball? And when you really look into it, you'll find that there are none. Then ask yourself again, why are you so upset?
Well, let's continue on with the audience questions here. Greco is asking, if you don't know what's at the edge, how do you know there is an edge?
I don't.
Easy as that?
It's easy as that. I mean, we don't know what's beyond the shoreline of Antarctica, other than what Admiral Byrd reported in 1957, or give or take a year. He said that he flew over a land bigger than America that is filled with resources that no human has ever touched. That's the last we heard. Right after that, Antarctic Treaty. You can't question the treaty until the year 2041. Something's up, Dave.
Well, maybe a few of us will be around to see when that happens. Geez,
they'll kick the can down the road right then. They'll say, oh, now 2081.
Oh, goodness. I would be 70 years old. 70 years old. My goodness. Oh, we're close to it. What year? 2041?
Yep.
I'll be 68? 68. Oh, my goodness. That's old. That's old. Anyways, moving on here, as we got a bunch of questions still from our audience. Persevere is asking, what do you think about the Tower of Babel? Was it really a tower at the top of the glass dome, firmament? And now that I think about it, I hear of a plan for a building to reach the sky by 2024. What's your thoughts?
I haven't heard about that building. I heard about space elevators again, which is just theoretical nonsense. I wasn't around. I don't know the story of the if the Tower of Babel was a real thing. It may have been, but that's a heck of a tower. But they built stuff back then that we can't even fathom building now. So again, I don't know. But if you look at the Disney logo, and Disney's part of this, Disney is part of the mind programming. It's a dome with a tower poking through it, and we know that they're trying to get through the firmament. Hillary Clinton, in her consolation speech when she didn't win the presidency, talked about cracking that glass ceiling, and she was referring to the dome.
Okay. Moving on. Cedric is asking, hi Cedric, how you doing tonight? If the Earth is flat, how do you explain earthquakes or plate tectonics?
So the story of plate tectonics isn't true, where they're separating, from Pangea. Now, when the Earth was created, maybe whoever created it separated lands and made the islands, made all the continents. But earthquakes are just a natural function of the Earth. Actually, some earthquakes are man-made. They're using scalar wave technology to shake the Earth. There are pressures underneath us. There is lava below the Earth. There's lava tubes. They're not coming from the center of the Earth. So yeah, there are little shakings of the Earth, but that's it. The Earth, continents are not drifting away from each other. 4 inches a year or something like that.
All right, Tommy is asking, what accounts for toilets flushing differently if there is in a northern and southern hemisphere?
That is a myth. It's not the case. I have 2 toilets that go in different directions in my house, and I do not live on the equator. It all has to do with the way the water enters the basin, but it's not a real thing. It's just a myth.
All right. I'm continuing on here with the audience questions as we scroll up in the chat room here. I know there's a bunch. Just have to make sure, and then I can find them here. Right. Bear with me. Dead air sucks for radio. I'm just saying. It really does suck. But DQ is asking, has our guest heard of Tataria mud flood?
Again, in the app under the web resources, there's a Tataria mud floods button. If you click that button, bring food and water, because you're not coming out for a long time. So I believe that there was a reset, kind of like what we're hearing about now, that happened in the late 1800s, possibly even the very early 1900s. There is evidence of buildings that we can't build today that were supposedly built when people had, horse and buggies. None of it makes any sense. There are buildings today in every city, everywhere, where there are floors well below the ground with windows well below the ground. So there was some sort of mud flood. Was it worldwide at the same time? Was it massive sections of the world? I couldn't tell you that, but there is definitely evidence of prior civilizations far more advanced than we are now.
All right, let's get to another question from Flesh Wound, who is asking, how does the sun reset each day without seeing it reset?
It just goes in a circle like a clock. Imagine a clock with the sun stuck to the hour hand, and it just goes around. And when it's far enough away, you can't see it because it's very close to the Earth. The optics in the sky are very tricky. And again, there's lots of videos on the app that show how the sun sets and how we see the sun. I personally believe that the sun itself is not a physical object, or at least the sun that we see, that it is projected into the Earth system.
Okay, Brett is asking, are the current solar corona flares and earthquake volcano activity happening right now because of electronic magnetic connection being fake?
So the solar flares, the coronal mass ejections are not real. The sun is nothing like they tell us. And volcanoes, there are eruptions, but they're not volcanoes with lava coming from the center of the earth. Again, I'm not the expert on that, but there is evidence of cone-shaped mountains spewing lava out of the top is hard to find. We could find it in movies. Now, there are, like in Hawaii, there are lava tubes that spew lava that is crawling all over some of the islands in Hawaii right now and other places in the world. So, again, it's not what they tell us. It's something different.
Ibarata in Singapore is asking, do you believe in more than 3 dimensions as Carl Sagan illustrated?
I don't believe it in the way Carl did it. But there's, I believe that there's a heavenly, non-physical realm above us. Can we explain it? I don't know. It's just a belief. There may be. I can't prove it, so I'd rather not go there.
All right. If you could get a telescope to the other side of the world or some sort of satellite-type image, what do you think we would see?
When you mean the other side of the world, like the underside?
The other side of the coin. If we're at the top part of the coin, what's on the bottom?
We're not on a coin. The Earth is the basement of the universe. Nobody could get below 8 miles, so we don't know what's underneath that at all. But what's interesting is all of the largest telescopes in the world are owned by the Vatican. That's a fact. And most of those big telescopes are in the outer southern lands, and they're not pointed up. They're pointed out, south. They're pointing across the plane and not up. So that's fascinating in itself.
Oh, interesting. Very interesting indeed. Okay, well, let's see what else we got out there, because the audience is reloading with their questions. And let me ask you this. If the flat Earth, are you saying that we are stationary in the universe?
So we are the universe. We are the center of creation, and everything we see is within the Earth system. You got to get rid of the word universe. We are all that there is, and everything is within the Earth system. But they're not rocky planets. They're not galaxies. These are lights in the sky that are local to the Earth. And they're spinning above the Earth. The Earth does not move. We prove that with the perfect clock-like work of the stars and the sun and the moon and the wandering stars, which now are called planets.
Okay, so with that, if we are spinning, are we spinning, or is the sun and the moon spinning?
We are not spinning. Even, I believe it was Einstein said that there's no way to prove if we're spinning or if the objects in the sky are spinning. But we are not spinning. We are supposedly, spinning at 1,000 miles an hour, orbiting the sun at 66,000, chasing the sun at 500,000 miles an hour, and going sideways. But we have lakes that are like glass, that are like mirrors. And, if we were moving in any direction, that water would be sloshing everywhere.
Okay. All right. Let's move on to another question here. This one comes from Bomber. What's your thoughts on aliens?
So as I talked before, I call them extraterrestrials. If there are extraterrestrials, which I believe there are, they come from the extra terra. Terra is land, territory. And they come from the outer spaces across the Earth plane, or perhaps below the Earth. Maybe there's stuff going on below the Earth that we don't know about. Again, that's speculation. But extraterrestrials are probably humanoid, and they probably speak English, if you ask me. They're a day trip away on an airplane versus trillions of miles, and then they come here and crash in Roswell. That's nonsense. Aliens and the secret space program work perfectly on a flat Earth. They come from the extraterra, and the secret space program is just a free propulsion program where they're using electromagnetism instead of fossil fuels, which is also nonsense, to levitate themselves.
Have you ever seen a UFO?
Anything I see in the sky that I can't explain is by definition a UFO.
How about up close?
Personally, not that I know of, but I probably have and just didn't realize it.
When you do, it'll change you again.
But again, what's more likely? It came from the closest star, which is 25 trillion miles away, or it came from the outer spaces across the flat Earth. It flew here in a, saucer, whatever levitates, and it came here, and then it goes back. It could come here for lunch and then go back. It doesn't have to travel 25 trillion miles. The closest star is 25 trillion miles away. Let me explain what a trillion is. Dave, how long do you think 1 trillion seconds is?
I don't know. It was way too long with my ex-wife. I could tell you that.
31,000 years. Okay? That's what a trillion is. 1 trillion seconds is 31,000 years. The closest star is 25 trillion miles away. That's unfathomable. Extraterrestrials, if they are real, which I do believe, they're coming from the extraterra beyond Antarctica. It's simple. That's simple. The story of coming that distance from outer space is the nonsense that I was talking about earlier.
Okay. So these extraterrestrials, you think they are hidden somewhere on flat Earth?
Well, I believe so. Again, it's beyond the shoreline of Antarctica. It's with speculation. On my channel, DITRH, you can find a video if you just search the outward flow of civilizations and then my channel name. You'll see a talk I did where I talked about, the disappearing Aztecs and the Mayans. They all of a sudden picked up and disappeared. Perhaps they went south, outwards, and they went to an outer land. Maybe there was a big climate shift, a climate change, not because of pollution, but they went outwards. And a new civilization started at the center. There's lots of stories. The Bostock Saga talks about how life started at the center. It's a big rabbit hole, but if you listen to that and open your mind, that is a possibility. I'm not speaking for other flat earthers. I'm speaking for myself because, again, that's all speculation, but it makes sense. Go ahead.
All right. Persevere is asking, do you think Space Force is for the people or another one of those flat earth ruler programs?
It's space farce, if you ask me. Nobody goes to space ever, in my opinion, and so it's just another mind control thing. It's not real.
Okay.
I mean, they may have people in it, but nobody's going to space because nobody goes to space. Watch any NASA SpaceX rocket. Watch the landings that they're doing. None of it makes any sense. And these rockets are crashing into the ocean. Again, on the app, if you go to What About NASA, we have so many videos of them faking stuff and how they fake rocket launches, how they fake space shuttle launches. It will blow your mind.
Okay. We got about 7 minutes left with you tonight, and we're going to continue on with audience participation and questions that we have here for you. So let's talk a little bit about gravity. You mentioned it just a little bit ago. You don't believe that there is a gravity because we are, kind of glued to the planet when we're standing on something flat, correct?
Right. So gravity is a theory, according to, again, quoting Neil deGrasse Tyson. He said himself in many interviews that they have no idea what gravity is. Every test to prove gravity, mass attracting mass, has failed, but it's still just a theory because they need it to hold their helio-nonsensical model together. So, again, as I said before, you have to believe that on a spinning ball that there's trillions and trillions of tons of ocean and cruise ships upside down in Australia while we're here and birds can fly and I can jump. That makes absolutely no sense. So what holds us down? If the Earth is the basement of the universe, and as I talked about before, the only true forces are electric and magnetic, the Earth has a measurable negative charge to it. And every meter you go up, the voltage increases by, I think, 100 volts. Every meter you go up. This is measurable, testable science. So
okay.
that negative charge it attracts things to the Earth. It attracts down. And there's some, arguments over that in the flat Earth community, which is great. It's good debate where some people say that buoyancy and density, relative density, sort everything out. Lighter things go up, and heavier things go down. But but we believe that the negative charge of the Earth is a weak force. Just like they say gravity is a weak force. It just establishes a down, and an anvil will drop faster than a feather, and a helium balloon will go up because it's lighter than the air that surrounds it. So that's what gravity is. And you can prove this because we can defy electromagnetism. If you go on YouTube and search like tinfoil electric anti-gravity, they make these little tinfoil triangles and they electrify them and they go up. There's a channel, Good Times for All, GUD times for all, the number 4, I believe. He did an experiment where he had some mylar balloons holding up an object that was floating above the floor, and then he added a static charge to it, and it got heavier because it changed the electric potential of it.
Okay, so with our technological advances that we do have today, have any scientific flat earth people conducted any type of experimentation to prove your theories exist?
Yes.
If so, what are they?
Yeah, so we have engineers that have spoken out. We have lots of people with scientific backgrounds that have done, like we've done these microwave tests. If you think about, we've had lots of Navy people, retired, most of them, that have spoken out. Think about this. A submarine can spot another submarine using sonar over 100 miles away. Right? But they would be behind miles of curvature, and that's impossible. If the Earth was curved, the submarine could just sit on the floor, and any submarine more than 10 miles away would never see it because it would be behind a hump. But that's not how it works. Sonar goes in straight lines. That's a fact, and it can see 100 miles, and that's impossible. So, do you need a degree of memorization and regurgitation? The people that get their degrees, the people that become teachers, are the ones that are the best at memorizing and regurgitating the school curriculum. That doesn't make you smart. That makes you a great memorizer of nonsense.
Okay. So, on that fact that you have your own scientists looking into this, I mean, there's a lot of experimentation that needs to be done to prove a lot of these theories. Why have they written any dissertations and brought this to the scientific community that's out there?
I'll explain why. Because the high people of scientism that are the spokesmen, they say the science is settled. Science is never settled. They say there is no need to talk to a flat earther ever because the science is settled. That doesn't sound like science to me. The reason Neil deGrasse Tyson, Bill Nye, Brian Cox won't come and talk to us is because they can't. They'll make tons of videos about flat earth, mocking it, making fun of it, gaslighting us, and stuff that we don't believe, claiming that we believe it, but they will never talk to us because if they did, we would destroy them. Destroy.
Okay. How would that be destroyed? Wouldn't it be good to get the regular scientific community on board?
Absolutely, 100%. We're trying to get scientists to come talk to us, and none of them will. Sometimes you get an innocent person that has no idea the Earth is flat, that is an astrophysicist or whatever, and if they prepare for the interview, they call us up and they say, "Sorry, I'm out. I'm not doing it," because first time in their life they actually question the ball and they see that there's problems, and then they realize if they speak out, they're going to lose their funding, they're going to be grounded like that KLM pilot, they're going to lose their careers, and their family's going to be homeless. So they don't want to speak out because they lose everything by speaking out. This is the biggest secret that they have, the most important one, because when people wake up to this, Dave, they wake up to everything and they take their power back. That's why the lie is so important to the elite.
We've got 1 minute left with you tonight, and I want to say a big thank you for coming on to Spaced Out Radio and having a really good time with us, David. Let everybody know where they can find your podcast.
TheFlatEarthPodcast.com has all the links just on any podcast player on your phone. The Flat Earth Podcast. Take the Flat Earth Podcast Challenge. Listen to the first 10 episodes. Start from the beginning. And you too, as I said earlier, will lose the respect of your family and friends. And again, my app is the way you can support me. It's $2.99. The Flat Earth Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app. If you just search on your Android phone or iOS phone, just Flat Earth Clock, it'll come right up. It's by Blue Water Bay. Make sure you get the right one. And it will show you what you won't find on Google.
Well, I appreciate you taking the time, Dave, to come on Spaced Out Radio. It is a little bit of a controversial topic, but I'm glad to have this conversation. We don't do it often on the show, but I think I think you explain it well. And thank you for coming on and showing your side of the argument. And Happy New Year to you, my friend.
Happy New Year to you, Dave. Thanks for having a conversation. And I gifted you the app, so I expect you to take the challenge and watch the video every day. Short ones during the week, longer ones on the weekend. And in 2 weeks, you can call me up and yell at me and say I've ruined your life.
Well, I mean, I already have an ex-wife who did that, so I'm okay with that. David, hold on one second. We're going to say to the audience, get ready. We're going to go to the SOR Newswire and the thought of the Dave. Stay tuned. Spaced Out Radio continues with the back end of hour number 3 coming up next. All right, my friend, good job. Give you a few claps.
Dave, I appreciate that. Thanks for having a respectful conversation. It's very, I get passionate, and people don't like their worldview being ripped out from underneath them.
I thought it was fun, man.
Dave, you did a great job, and I will feature this on the app this weekend on your YouTube channel, and you'll get a ton of views.
All right. I appreciate that. Thank you.
All right, Dave, anything else?
You take care, my friend. I got to get ready for the news here, and you take care, and all the best to you over the new year, and all the best in 2021 to you and your family, man.
All right, same to you, Dave. Thanks.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Very nice guy. Very nice guy. Very nice guy. I like him. I like him. And let's go here. All right, just looking for something here. Hey, Howard, how you doing? Hey, Miss Pickles, what's going on? go here. All right, we've got about 90 seconds, everyone. Damn it, I forgot to ask the breakfast for dinner question. Son of a gun. That's terrible of me. Terrible. Adrianism, welcome to the show. Once again, a big thank you to Cedric, Grendel, Gil, BBD Warrior, Cat Chaser, and Tammy for the super chats tonight. Really do appreciate that. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you to everyone who has given us a thumbs up. Thank you to our new subscribers as we are encroaching on 10,000, and we really appreciate it. Hi, gorgeous Betty Spaghetti. How are you? Happy New Year to you. And thank you, Stunt Brat. Hey, Spudgerino. Here we go, everyone. We're heading for home tonight on Spaced Out Radio. I'm Dave Scott. Thank you so much for choosing us. I want to remind you that if you've missed most of this show or others, check out our free archives at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. Speaking of the news, let's do this thing. Final time of the year. All right. But before we bring in the news, once again, a big Happy New Year to all of our listeners right across North America and around the world. Thank you for supporting this show. I know 2020 was not the best of years for a lot of us, and let's face it, COVID really sucks. It does. All right? And that's a whole different topic. But the main thing is, a lot of you guys found us for the first time. We were given some great opportunities on radio stations for the first time, and we are so thankful to be able to broadcast each and every night to you here Monday through Friday that it's just wonderful for me to be a part of your lives. And please reach out in the new year in 2021 if we haven't heard from you already. We really want to hear from you and say hello, so thank you for taking the time. All right, we're going to go off to Japan right off the bat. This is definitely a unique health benefit. As it comes to a close this year, several companies and product manufacturers are trying to cash in on the overall negative feeling people have towards 2020. For example, Burger King in Japan is reportedly offering a burger that can allegedly ward off bad spirits. I could use a few of these. Burger King Japan announced on their YouTube page, the company announced the arrival of their new spicy Yakuyoki Whopper, containing spicy garlic flakes and a special spicy sauce. But the sandwich has another selling point. It may get rid of evil. Burger King Japan hints on its website. In Burger King's commercial, a group of employees are shown bringing the burgers to a temple in Chofu City, Tokyo, where they appear to be blessed. The caption also explains that it will be difficult for Japanese citizens to carry out their traditional end-of-year events like attending similar blessing services at temples due to the difficult nature of 2020. It is custom in Japan to visit a temple or shrine around the new year and pick up a Yakuyoke amulet to ward off evil spirits. The burger is also made with garlic flakes that are made from Japan's hottest golden gang. I don't know about you, but reading this story, I'm starting to froth at the mouth. I can feel it. The burger, it is said to increase the overall hotness of it. Oh my gosh, this sounds so good. Come on, Burger King Canada, we need this. This isn't the only time that International Burger King chains has seemingly used the negative perception of 2020 to inspire a burger. The story calls it a sandwich. A burger is not a sandwich. Okay? It is not. It is a hamburger. Just like there's no such thing as vegan hamburgers, there's no such thing as a burger being a sandwich. Anyways, after surveying fans, the restaurant chain used the results as inspiration for the burger, not sandwich, which contains a chicken foot, overcooked noodles, sardines, thick caramel sauce, and jello. Top it off on a burnt bun. What was that for? Oh, that was in Brazil, by the way, not Japan. But I want one of those spicy Whoppers. I do. All right. Big controversy here in Canada. Why? Because in the province of Ontario, Finance Minister Rod Phillips, during Christmas, posted Christmas videos of him saying, look, we know it's hard that you can't be with family and having to use Zoom and social media to connect with people. In the meantime, he skipped out of the country to go party in St. Bart's. Yes, the jet-setting Ontario finance minister will find it a lot chillier, literally and figuratively, when he disembarks from his jet in Toronto. Why? Because the premier, Doug Ford, is pissed off and angry for him doing this. The premier was vowing to have a tough conversation with Phillips, but offered little information on his fate that awaits the wandering cabinet minister. Ford has demanded the one-time CEO of Post Media return home and get a lashing. A lashing. This guy probably would not have a lashing like this since he was caught stealing $5 out of Dad's wallet back in 1972. I'm telling you, this guy's in trouble. Anyways, Doug Ford there was vowing a tough conversation with Phillips, but offered little information of the fate. The opposition has called for his resignation. What a jerk. Honestly, what a jerk. This guy, telling all the residents of Ontario, too bad, so sad that you're locked down. I'm feeling for you. We got this together. And in the meantime, he skips out and goes party in St. Bart's while he's filming this from his hotel room. Yes, this guy needs a good kick to the shins. That's what he needs. Come on, Toronto, you like soccer over there. Kick him in the shins. Anyways, here's one. An Australian tennis temptress who has struggled on the court is now reportedly serving up skin only for fans. Yes. Angelina Grajovic, who's 19 years old, turned to the site OnlyFans so she could keep playing tennis after making just $5,000 in earnings on the pro circuit this year. She made her debut in 2018 but has struggled to get the kind of wins and sponsorship that would fatten her bank account. The ITF Tour regular has won just 8 of her 36 career singles matches and has yet to earn a WTA world ranking. This young girl may want to think about giving tennis up. The tennis pro is now building on her 19,000 Instagram followers to get them to become paying customers. Followers have long enjoyed the aspiring tennis star's photos. The Sun and said OnlyFans, which has packed with failed athletes, porn stars, and C-list actresses, has more than 24 million users. Grajovic reportedly poses nude on her platform, and she is not alone in the tennis world. One-time number 17 rated Bernard Tomic has also starred in several OnlyFans clips with girlfriend Vanessa Sierra. Oh my. This thing's a little hot here. Woo, the color. Anyways, after a lousy outing in Tunisia, a photo Grajovic posted earned more than 1,600 likes. She captured the picture. They mad at you 'cause they ain't as bad as you. That's terrible. Another in a towel was posted online. Don't mind waking up to this view every morning. Yes, okay, young lady. Go get your cash. Sad story here coming out of Kazakhstan. Horrible story. A few days ago, I was reading this story. Maybe you did too, about this Kazakhstan bodybuilder who married his sex doll. Yeah. Well, apparently, they may be getting divorced. Yeah. Yuri Tolochko, a bodybuilder who became Insta-famous on Instagram, says Margot, his sex doll wife, is broken. The man and the doll were married after 8 months together. Things went downhill from there. She is broken, and now she is being repaired. She's in another city, Tolochko said. When she recovers, it will be a gift for both of us. Tolochko has described himself as a sexy maniac, and he claims he met Margot at a nightclub. Is this a gag? The real thing? A disturbed individual? Who could really say? But he broke his wife. I will leave you to your imagination, or the imagination of Captain Shirk, to figure out how that actually happened. I don't know, but I'm a little scared. I don't want to know. That is something I do not want to know. Moving on. An Australian father trying to protect his children from a kangaroo when the animal punched him in the face on the eve of Boxing Day, a holiday celebrated the day after Christmas. Terrible writing here, by the way. Punched him in the face on the eve of Boxing Day. Why didn't they just say Christmas Day? Just like there's Christmas Eve on the 24th, Christmas Day, and then Boxing Day. There is no eve of Boxing Day unless you're writing it as Boxing Day evening. Sorry, the red pen came out there. Mitchell Robinson, by the way, and his children were outside their home in Southwest Rocks, New South Wales, when he spotted a large marsupial digging holes in the front yard on Christmas Day. Okay, so it was Christmas Day. And anyways, Robinson, who is already recovering from a broken arm, is seen bending down in a video down to grab the dirt and rocks from the ground in an attempt to shoo the animal away. However, the kangaroo went total Mike Tyson on him. Before he could hurl the rocks, the kangaroo lurched near him and punched him right in the face, then kicked him. Oh, that dirty bastard. Anyways, once Robinson was down on the ground, the kangaroo ran off. Tina Rowe, friend of the family, who was nearby during the attack, says that it was pretty clear the kangaroo wasn't leaving the property without a fight. It was just staring at him. And he picked up something, trying to shoo it away. As soon as he did that, you could see it was going to go at him. Noting the animal was massive. Big male kangaroo, big chest. Aside from the minor scratch, Robinson didn't suffer any injuries from the attack. You know what? I'm just going to say this. If you're going to go mano-a-mano with a male kangaroo, you got to get those children to bring out the portable speakers, the Bluetooth speakers. You got to go in, you got to get your trunks on, put on a robe, take the wife's robe, put the robe on, and get the kids to hold the speakers up high. So that way, at least you go in with a theme song. Okay? It pumps you up for this stuff. Trust me. Years of hockey taught me that. All right? This guy could have done much better if he had a theme song. You imagine walking in to Midnight Oil's Beds Are Burning or AC/DC's Thunderstruck? This guy had prime opportunity for a good fight. All right? And he blew it. And instead, he's a laughingstock. Terrible. A well-preserved Ice Age woolly rhino, with many of its internal organs still intact, has been recovered from the permafrost in Russia's extreme northern region. Media reports that the carcass was revealed by thawing permafrost in Yakutia in August. Scientists are waiting for ice roads in the Arctic region to become passable to deliver the animal to a laboratory for studies in January. The carcass is among the best preserved specimens of woolly rhino found to date. Most of the soft tissues are still intact, including the intestines, some thick hair, and a lump of fat. Its horn was found next to it. Oh, this is cool. In recent years, as the ice inside the permafrost increasingly melts across vast areas of Siberia because of global warming, there have been significant discoveries of mammoths, woolly rhinos, and cave lion cubs. A foal known as Lena the horse, alive 42,000 years ago, was found in the permafrost in the one region. Anyways, this is kind of cool. Scientists dated the carcass from 20,000 years to 50,000 years ago. More precise dating will be possible once radiocarbon studies can be done at a laboratory. The carcass was found on the bank of a river in the Abisk district, close to the area where another young woolly rhino was recovered in 2014. Researchers dated that specimen, which they called Sasha, at 34,000 years old. Scary incident here. Small plane made a miraculous emergency landing on a Florida beach after suffering engine trouble shortly after takeoff. The Federal Aviation Administration said the single-engine Cessna 172, owned by Dania Beach marketing firm, took off from Fort Lauderdale at around 2 p.m. and was in the air for about 10 minutes before making the emergency landing on the beach sand. The aircraft makes regularly scheduled trips between Fort Lauderdale and the Bahamas, Broward Sheriff Fire Rescue spokesperson Michael Kane said. It appears in this case the aircraft had possibly just taken off when it experienced engine trouble and was unable to return to Fort Lauderdale. Beach visitor Derek Thompson captured the video of the plane's landing. He landed on the beach right in front of me, and I saw people down the beach and a few just run to get out of the way of the plane. The plane went up, and its nose kind of dug into the sand a bit. When it finally came to a stop, it came back down on its wheels. The pilot was able to exit the plane uninjured. To say this was a miraculous landing would be a great understatement. The FAA is still investigating. And finally, here's a pair of good thieves. Sometimes we need some good stories out there. You know, we really do. A New Mexico couple who thought their pair of old dining chairs had been stolen from outside their home returned from a weekend trip to find that the thief had returned the chairs with a fresh coat of paint and new upholstery. How cool is this? University of New Mexico student Conrad Duran said he spotted the two chairs left at the side of the curb on Christmas Eve and decided to take them home to try and fix them up for use inside the Albuquerque home he shares with his girlfriend Andrea. I just grabbed them and left them outside of my garage door, which is really not that close to the curb, that I had to go to work, he said. Duran said he was dismayed to return home from his double shift to find the chairs had been stolen. I've gotten a few items stolen from me over the years living here ever since I moved, Duran said. It's one of those things when you come to terms with it, you just do. So Duran said he and his girlfriend Andrea were shocked when they returned from visiting family during the weekend to find the chairs had returned to their porch with a new coat of paint and new upholstery. I thought they had been stolen, and lo and behold, they had just taken them, redid them, and returned them as a Christmas gift or something like that, Duran said. Now they just look absolutely beautiful, and they do, if you go online and look at it. Duran said there was an anonymous note on one of the chairs about doing good for others. Another case of suspected theft had an unexpectedly happy ending earlier this month when Tommy Cook of Virginia was reunited with his long-lost 1969 Camaro. Cook said the Camaro was stolen from his auto repair shop in Woodbridge in 2003, and there were no developments in the investigation until Cook himself spotted the car in a Maryland auto shop while looking over another Camaro for a friend. Cook said the car is in better shape now than when it was stolen. It now has an engine. Look at that. Always a positive line as we head into the thought of the day. Thought of the Day happens every night at this time, where we ask a question on our Facebook and Twitter pages, then read your responses on the air. Because we love the audience participation around here. Today's Thought of the Day is as follows. Thanks for the clown, Marty, by the way. What's the strangest flat earth conspiracy you've heard? Marty, one of our favorite veterans who listens to this show. We love our veterans around here. So if you're a veteran, thank you for your service. Says that when you go to the edge of the flat earth, then there is a stop sign, so you won't go over. My good buddy Bob, infinity tie for first. Hashtag stay away from the edge. Chip, that the earth is a globe. 13 ballads. King Lake, Ontario, Canada, heartland of the contrarian, a flat earther's paradise. Obviously, you've never been to Saskatchewan. Anthony, ask AJ Styles, the wrestler. Let's try and get him on, Cords, the booking guy. Robot guy, weirdest conspiracy? It's flat. John, love you, Dave. Thank you, love you. Happy New Year, John. William, William. That our oceans to actually drain off the flat earth and that a real secret world government somehow replaces it. Yeah. Kev, go tell it on a mountain. That's kind of funny. That really is kind of funny. I'm not going to lie. Not going to lie. All right, let's continue on here with a little bit of thought of the day here. Where are we? Where'd they all go? There they are. Ron, do they have bottomless pits? Scott, that rum and coke isn't a popular drink? Chris Jarvis, that there is a huge ice wall that circles the Earth that is guarded by NASA to stop people from climbing it and falling off the planet. Ryan Stacy, okay, here's the thing. Flat Earth Society is actually a movement that protests against NASA, suggesting that they have faked the moon landing and all the live feed cuts. The flat earth concept is supposed to upset you to get your attention. If you actually look into the movement, it has very little to do with the shape of the earth. It's mostly about how the government lies. Governments tell the truth? Kirky Kirk Show. The only one where they suggest the earth is flat. That's why we call him the Kirky Kirk Show around here. Bob, the vaccine works and will fix everything. Alex, there's this dude, he's got a YouTube videos and all that, and he believes mountains and big rocks are actually petrified trees from where everyone was bigger or whatever. Hey, you better not be talking about Devil's Tower there, because that is Team Stump. If I remember correctly, he does link to Flat Earth somehow. It's by far the craziest thing I've seen, at least pre-truth or BitChute era. Chris, all of them. Gil, if you want to walk to the end of Africa, you'll fall off. Marty, it's so embarrassing to be the only flat planet. Cheryl, it was an invite to recruit flat earthers, it stated, and we have all members around the globe. I nearly choked on my coffee about that. James, the whole PSYOP is designed to distract from Hollow Earth and the ultra-terrestrial overlords of mankind. We are not the only intelligent life forms that live here. Oh my. Oh my. Tim, the wall of ice and snow that holds back the oceans and rings the outside edges, how many miles deep, wide, etc., is this wall? What keeps it from melting? Fred, Australia does not exist, exposed as an imaginary land enforced by really secret agents. On that note, goodbye, 2020. I'm done with you. This show is done with you, and we will talk to you all next year. Thank you to everyone participating in the Thought of the Day. I look forward to talking to you next year on Facebook and Twitter. And, of course, a big thank you to Captain Shirk for the news and Flat Earth podcast host David Weiss coming on in to talk about Flat Earth. We got Mr. Ron Bumblefoot Thal rocking in the background with Little Brother is watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio, rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up with the guitar god himself. Special thanks to everybody listening in at work, at home, in your cars, wherever you may be. Everyone in our chat rooms on Spreaker, YouTube, LGAB, Revolution Radio, Facebook, the Space Travelers Club on our website, and all the Snarkers and Snarkettes having a good time on Twitter, hashtag Spaced Out Radio. Remember, this show is copyright by Spaced Out Radio and SOR Media Ventures Limited. Thank you so much for sharing your evening and year with us, because together, my friends, say it with me, we're watching. We own the night. Mr. We need a fight to fall. We need you to take us home. Train has died for 2020, but in 2021, we shall ride again. Your seats are always available. Your tickets never expire. If you want to bring a friend, we got room for them too. Good night. Happy New Year. Woo! Happy New Year, everyone. Happy New Year. Happy New Year. Happy, 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 happy New Year to you. Happy New Year. Happy New Year. Happy, 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 happy New Year to you. How about kicking off? You know what? 2021 is already getting off to a great start, everyone. You know why? R. Keith Andrews. We are starting the year off with Power Peak Woo, everyone. You know why? We haven't asked Ron yet, or Ronald R. Keith, about the Galactic Federation yet. No, we have not, people. No, we have not. Therefore, otherwise some will say, ergo, we gonna have Peak Woo. By the way, gorgeous and talented Teresa, thank you for that amazing super chat. I really do appreciate it. Much love to you and everything that you do to support this show. Thank you. Aussie Rob, I never got a picture of the Ham Hawks. Kind of pissed off about that right now. And, yeah, where is it? Where is it, buddy? You know, I need them Ham Hawks. I need them New Year's Ham Hawks. Love you too, Teresa. By the way, Jessica McCreary, now that the show is over, she will be in the back room giving all ladies and men hair tips. Because if you've seen her hair, she's actually got gorgeous hair. She really does. Way better than mine. Super Ron, hello and good night until next year. Where did you send them there? Did you send them to Skype? I never got them. I never got them, Aussie Rob. Did you send them to Instagram? Mere person, Happy New Year. Happy, 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 happy New Year to you. Hey, Kaylee. You're looking lovely tonight, by the way. Hey, Roy Washington. We own the night, buddy. Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah. My goal, 2021. Gonna meet a bunch of you guys out there. My goal. Facebook Messenger. I never got it, Rob. I'm looking at my Facebook Messenger right now. I never got it. I was wondering. I thought you were breaking my heart. Don't go breaking my heart. I wouldn't if I tried. Ooh. Uh-huh. Just think, everyone. We're closer to that spaced out radio party in Vegas. We are closer to that spaced out radio party in Vegas. Yes, we are. Hi, Desert Clam. We are not live tomorrow. We will be back on Friday, yes, my friend, with R. Keith Andrews. Rafaela? I just love saying your name, so I'm just going to say it. Rafaela? Hi, I'm Dave. Showtime. What is going on? Yes, spaced out radio party in Vegas. As soon as that fucking border opens, people, we're going. We're going. All right. Oh, there it is. Came through on Skype. Hold on. Look at those ham hocks. And not only are those fancy Crocs you got on too? Look at that. Look at that. Ham hocks and Crocs. Oh, that just makes it all worth it right there, Aussie Rob. Makes it all worth it. Hi, Sandra. Hi, Sandra. Hi, Sandra. I know I said hi to you earlier. Screw it. It's a new year. I'm going to go get a beer. I am. I'll be right back. Okay? Give me like 2 minutes. 2 seconds. So anyways, back to where we were. Vegas talk. Now that it's 2021, okay, by spring and everything, I think COVID, in my opinion, is going to calm down. And guess what? We're going to be able to party in Vegas. That's all that matters. That's all I am focused on. Yeah, that is all that I am focused on, is us all getting together and partying in Vegas. That's what I want. That's my goal. That is my intent. Fresh that. I look kind of blurry there. There we go. Now I'm clear. All right. Cheers, everyone. Happy New Year. Yes, we're putting out the Vegas vibe. Dave needs it to happen. Dave needs it to happen real bad. Dave hasn't had a vacation in a number of years, and Dave needs a vacation. Dave is being completely selfish here, everyone. Completely selfish. I know. I know. Who would have thunk? Okay, where is... There it is. All right. Who would have thunk it? But I am being completely selfish here. All right. We need to do it. All of us get together. I will give you guys as much time as possible, probably a couple of months to prepare. All right. So let's say, for instance, the ban on the border is lifted in February. That means by the end of April, we're going to go. It's go time. All right. If the ban ends in March, it'll be May. There'll be a 2-month window, everyone, that you will have. And we're going to do this because we have to. I'm pumped up for it. I really am. Completely pumped up for it. I will, Fapster. That's a good idea. Give Taco Bell's a fair warning we're coming. Because, Fapster, you and I, we're going to be making that 3 a.m. run, dude. We're going to be making that 3 a.m. run to Taco Bell. Yes, if the apocalypse happens, we're going to Vegas. Oh, Betty Spaghetti, you are a woman of my heart. Eating Taco Bell for breakfast? Oh, God bless you. God bless you. You're a beautiful soul, Betty Spaghetti. A beautiful soul. Oh, Derek, happy Woo Year. By the way, I didn't know if you survived or not, Derek. Thank you for the super chat, man. And thank you for being an awesome fan for all these years, brother. I really do appreciate it. I really do appreciate it. Thank you. I appreciate your support. Well, I know, Heather, you're already in Vegas, so Heather's going to be there. She is going to be chaperoning the party with her girlfriend, Jamie, and they are going to chaperone us all around Vegas and make sure that we do some really bad things there. God, I hope it's bad. I hope it's real bad. Remember, no photographs. There's never, I'll tell you a little Dave secret. When I go to party in Vegas, I literally take one photograph each time. One photograph. And the only photograph I ever take in Vegas is flying into Vegas. When you come over the mountains from the north, and all of a sudden you kind of look out your window and you see the skyline of the Vegas Strip. That is the only picture I take. That is it. There's no other photos that I take in Vegas besides that. Derek, I expect you to eat breakfast for dinner in Vegas. Why does that seem short? Yeah, that's it. Right? I'm going to send you back home with a scrapbook full of evidence. No! No! Andrew, I will not go to Vegas on a Coldplay gig. There's never a reason for any person in humanity, okay, go to a Coldplay concert. Unless you're fap. Because he likes to feel all yellow. Ooh. Anyways. Uh-huh. God, I can't wait. Getting closer. Getting closer. Gonna be awesome. Gonna be awesome, people. Microphone low tonight. That's the issue. Gorgeous Larry, I don't care. You better be in Vegas for our party. We can do SEMA later. There's always a time to go to Vegas. One day when this show gets big enough, if I'm blessed enough and we're all blessed enough to have this show get really big, I'm going to tell you right now, I will move this show to Vegas. Why? Because I can. That is the truth. It's because I can. My cousin lives down there. I like his lifestyle. I always bug him because he looks like Bob Vila. You're going to make a diarrhea run an hour later, Dazzling Dave. What happens in Vegas comes out of your ass. Yes, it does. I am a veteran there, Pickles. I am totally a veteran. I've spent many a time wondering why me in Vegas, and it all works out perfectly on the flight home. It all makes sense. Vegas needs me. You're right, mere person. Vegas needs me. That is some very good truth right there. What's that one? Hey, Nilbog. Happy New Year, man. Yeah, so you guys will all have you guys will all have a couple of months. Like I said, once the border opens up, everyone, it is time. That's a couple months of hair growth, so I should be down to about here. Where am I here? Hold on. Should be down to about here by then. Yeah. How quickly does hair grow? Half an inch per month. All right, half an inch per month. So if I go there, about there, what's about there? I'll be right about there. Almost at the goal. 3 months, it'd be about an inch and a half, about there. Sideburns, yeah. Hey, oh, Bill Wilson, wow. Thank you for the amazing super chat, man. I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Wow. Kind of catch. You know what? Those super chats still catch me really, really off guard. Really off guard. I don't know why, but they do. Thank you so much. Wow. Super chats are humbling. Humbling. They really are. 2 seconds here, guys. Hey, Renee Cruz, how are you? The Aviation Awards, January 23rd. I'm not going to make it for that. Yeah, you could dye my hair. I'll probably end up dyeing my beard or something by the time I get there. I tell you, though, I am going to be on total workout mode. That's what I'm going to be doing here in the next little bit here. So, oh yeah, it'll be good. My head, it looks like I have a helmet on right now. Holy cow, that's terrible. Now, I appreciate each and every one of you guys, man. Honestly. You guys are you guys are amazing. Yeah, Vinny better be there. I know Corn's the booking guy will be there. Miss Pickles, Happy New Year to you. Hopefully see you on Friday. Oh, goodness. Hey, guys, it's almost time to get that super chat, or pardon me, your super chat. No. Transfer your verification codes ready here, everyone. I'm running late on this. All right. Running late on this. Hold on here. Where is it? Where's my verification code? Never got it. Why didn't I get a verification code? Shit. Okay, I did. Oh. Forgot it. Why the hell didn't I get my verification code? Receive an email. Resend. There it is. 785-209. 785-209 is your verification code. Your final one of 2020. Who got it? Anybody? Anybody? Of course Sandra did. Of course. Just imagine, Sandra, how did you do it? How do you do it? Each and every night. How do you do it? Load it up. This over here. See you guys better. The verification code is just a game we play to see if you guys can guess it, Jessica. There's no meaning to it. I have to, in order to send copies of the radio program to a few of our stations, I need to hit send, and then it asks for a verification code to send the emails. So that's why we do it. So it really means nothing. It's much like the password. The password means nothing. Hey, Drake, Happy New Year to you. Wow, you guys are awesome. Oh, tried rice water in my hair and it feels amazing. I don't know what kind of shampoo I got. I don't. I just look for a cool looking bottle. Get the shampoo and the conditioner. Put a little beard oil in for the beard. Yeah, about it. That's about it. Wow. Finally, this bloody year is over. Holy cow. Been a long one. Been a long one. Cotton candy shampoo. That would be great. That would be great. So, I get tomorrow off, Friday off, Saturday off, Sunday off. I got a 4-day weekend here. Kind of cool. Very cool. Yeah. Do some work around here tomorrow. Rinse the rice, let it soak for 30 minutes, pour the water in some. It for 2 days to end. Run fridge for it. That's way too difficult. Canadians receive a stimulus check. We all get $1,000. We all get $1,000. Plus, those who are less fortunate got some other subsidies too. Really cool. Yeah, that one's Can you believe we made it through the year? Awesome. My goal next year is to hang out with all of you, because that's what we get to do. No, here in BC, it's a one-time payment of $1,000, and then they got other subsidies that I didn't take. Due to my daytime job, I didn't have to. 'Cause eventually, that stuff, it's all going to come back. Eventually. Fantastic. I am drinking a Bud Light Lime. That's the beer in my fridge right now, so that's what I'm drinking. There you go, Corin's the booking guy. Rafaela. Love that name. Probably sick and tired of me saying that. I had a case of Bud Light Lime bought for me. That's why I'm drinking it. 2 cases, actually. Now, the Bud Light Orange is fantastic. $99.01. We need 99 more. 99 more. Yes, we're getting closer. We are getting closer. I'm actually kind of excited about the whole everything. I really am. Dave, do you get a? No, you have to wait. I think 100,000. You get a plaque. YouTube. YouTube Creator Award. So what is this? You get a Silver Creator Award for 100,000, a Gold Creator Award for 1,000,000, Diamond Creator Award for 10 million, and that's the awards. Good night, Pickles. Right. Well, everyone, it's that time where I'm going to say Happy New Year to you guys because I've been going since like 7:45 this morning, and I am tired. I am tired. Happy New Year to each and every one of you. Thank you so much for being listeners of this show. We gained a lot of new faces this year, and you guys have been phenomenal to us. You really have. And the way you've treated us and the way you're sticking around, I couldn't ask for a better year regarding this show. I know this year was down for a lot of people, but for us at Spaced Out Radio, it was actually a very, very big boost for us, especially going on YouTube. We didn't know how well this would work, and it's been better than we thought, way better. We are going to get better in 2021. We are going to try some different things on the YouTube channel. I got to get off my butt to learn the editing programs because I have some ideas that I would like to do. But I love all of you. Thank you so much for being with us through 2020. Please have a safe and happy New Year tomorrow night. We'll be back on the 1st with our Keith Andrews. Much love. Be safe. Have a drink for me. Cheers. And here's to a better year, everyone. Honestly, we all deserve it. Raise your glasses and your beverages up. Doesn't matter if it's alcohol or not. Okay, but just raise it up. Cheers with me. And here's to 2021. Have a good time, everyone. Much love. Good night.